Good afternoon. Welcome to the Livingston Parish Council meeting. Regular council meeting today is Thursday, August 28th, 2025 at 6 p.m. All notices have been pushed out and the media has been notified. I have the invocation tonight, but I asked Miss Sandy if she would call the roll. If she would do the invocation tonight. Mr. Randy, Parish President, would you lead us in the pledge tonight?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Sandy, will you call roll?
Mr. Artie.
Sorry. Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Coates.
Here.
Mr. Mangus.
Here.
Mr. Goff.
Here.
Mr. Shavers.
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here.
Ms. Sandifer. Here. And Mr. Wascom.
Here.
All present.
All present. As a reminder, please mute your cell phones. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item tonight, we request that you fill out a card. We do have a long agenda tonight, so we're going to move from 4 minutes to 3 minutes tonight. If you do not have a card and you feel compelled to speak on an agenda item, you'll have 2 minutes. Please address the council. Do not address anybody in the audience. And if you have any questions, we will answer those questions if the council desires after your time has elapsed and you sat down. Presentations. Ms. Sandiford, recognition of the Parish Soccer Club.
Okay. All right, so we have a soccer team in the house tonight. The Parish Soccer Club. So the boys Parish Soccer Club recently competed in the U.S. Youth Soccer National President's Cup tournament. To get to the national level, okay, so get this, I want to focus this too. They won the state level and the regional tournaments. So they were invited to Tampa and to compete in the nationals. In the nationals, they went 1-2. They did not take the title home, but this is a huge accomplishment for this group of kids and the Parish Soccer Club. This is the first time a Parish Soccer Club has advanced past the regional tournament. So please help us congratulate this great team. Y'all come up. I've got some certificates for you, and we want to take pictures with you. So y'all want to come up? Y'all look. Let's come up here. I'll arrange y'all.
All right, agenda item number 9 has been pulled for tonight. Agenda item number 10, adopt a resolution authorizing the Parish of Livingston to proceed with an issuance of it not to exceed $91,292,000 sales tax revenue bond and one or more services providing certain terms of said bonds, making application to the State Bond Commission for approval of said bonds, and employing bonds counsel, independent registered municipal advisor, and underwriter placement agents, and providing for other matters in connection within. Mr. Jim Ryans.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I brought some handouts for y'all because I got a bunch of calls from, and they were good calls from good people, good questions. The first one you've got, there's two. You should have 2 handouts with 4 pages each. And the first set of numbers you should have highlighted in orange right up here, not to exceed. Okay? You're going to notice on that, so this is the sources and uses of bond. This is where we get the money and what we do with the money. Not to exceed is a term that the Bond Commission has come up with that means you have to draw this box and you have to live within this box. And you can't go over any of the numbers or the interest rates or the length of the debt or anything like that. So when we run not to exceed numbers, we assume the highest interest rate possible. We assume the maximum amount we would ever need for any and all contingencies. And we assume the maximum length, okay? And the second set of numbers you have are what we refer to as the real numbers. But on the not to exceed numbers on that first page, the sources and uses, I want to look under uses. You're going to see, I've got highlighted there, debt service reserve fund, $9,129,000. And then you'll also see bond insurance of $663,683.08. As some of you old timers like Ricky and John know, you can't have both. You either are going to have a debt service reserve fund or you're going to have bond insurance. But in these set of numbers, we assume every possible contingent. What will happen is we will be able to get bond insurance on these bonds, and we will not need the debt service reserve fund. So that $9.129 million we won't need. Now, I say that with a 99% chance of certainty. There have been times in my history, in the 25 years of this business, where, like during the financial crisis, bond insurance companies stopped writing bond insurance policies for about 6 months. You couldn't get it. If you don't have a bond insurance policy, then you have to fund a debt service reserve fund. And that's money that you borrow and you stick in an account with a trustee in a trust estate. They invest the money for you, and then that money gets used to make your last payment on your bond. Okay? So, in all likelihood, again, with a 99.9% chance, I'll tell you we're not going to need that. And if we do, we don't need the other two that are highlighted there, the insurance premium. Flipping over to the second page, I wanted to point out on this page that this is the not to exceed debt service. Now, this is run at 7%. So that makes your interest payments a lot higher, right? Which reduces the amount of principal that you get, which reduces the amount of construction money that you would get, just like on a mortgage loan. If you're paying 7% on your mortgage versus 3% on your mortgage, you can still borrow the same amount, but you're going to have a lot less you can use to build your house with. Okay? Works the same exact way. Now, on the third page, what I want to point out is if you'll notice under the columns of rate and yield, and those two things are very, very different. This is probably the most key thing I'm going to say. Rate is the rate, the interest rate stated on a piece of paper. The yield is what you actually get. And there's also, you'll notice it's all at 7%. So there's this thing called the yield curve. And what that means is if Erin finances her car for 3 years, let's just say she gets a 3% interest rate from her credit union. If she finances it for 5 years, she gets a 5% interest rate. And if she finances it for 8 years, she might get a 7% interest rate. That's a curve. And what it generally means is the shorter the length of the loan, just like on a mortgage, the 15-year interest rate is going to be less than a 30-year interest rate. The shorter the length of the loan, the lower the interest rate. So that's a curve. And if you'll notice on that third page under rate and yield, there's no curve. It's 7% from the beginning and 7% to the end. Another thing to notice about bonds is it's not just one bond. There's a bunch of little bonds. Okay? Some that will mature in 26, 27, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you would assume, given a logical yield curve, that those shorter maturities, the loans that mature next year and in 27, would have a lower interest rate than the loans that mature in 12 years. That would be logical. But again, the bond commission makes us run a set of numbers like this. What's important about these numbers is that's what's reflected in your resolution tonight, because the resolution has to match the not to exceed numbers that we have to turn into the bond commission. So I've gotten quite a few calls going, $90 million at 7%. What are you talking about? That's crazy. It is crazy, and it's not realistic. And again, on the last page, it just reflects basically the same exact thing. You'll see I've got one line highlighted there, true interest cost. And as you can see, there's 8 different ways to calculate interest expense, but the true interest cost on the not to exceed numbers would be 7.17%. Okay. So that's fantasy land. That's what we call parameters. Before we get into the second set of numbers, I want to make an example of something. Let's say that Miss Sandifer, I keep picking on you, and I'm sorry, is going to loan me $100. I need $100. And Aaron says, okay, Jim, I'll loan you $100 for a year. But Aaron says, but Jim, I'm not a nonprofit organization. I'm going to need some interest on this loan. And I say, okay, Aaron, well, how about 7%? And Aaron says, that'll work. I'll take 7%. So we draw up all these documents, and in a bond issue, I know Ricky and John have been through this. You go to the closing to sign bonds, and you sign a stack of papers this thick. So we draw up all these papers, and so the 7% is in there 100 times in 100 different places. All right, but we draw up all these papers a month in advance, and so I'm going to give Erin an IOU that says I owe Erin $100 in 1 year, and I owe her $7 in interest. So I'm going to give her $107 in 1 year from now. She's going to give me $100 today. I'm going to give her an IOU. That's a bond. That's what a bond is an IOU. But the day before Erin's going to give me my $100, the stock market crashes and interest rates plummet. And we've already got all these documents drawn up. And I go to Erin and I say, Erin, there's 100 people out there, Ricky, John, Billy. They'll all loan me money at 3.5% today. 7% is crazy. And Erin says, yeah, I agree with that. 3.5 is fair. And I say, okay, Erin, then instead of you giving me $100 today and me giving you this IOU that says I'm going to pay you $100 in a year plus 7% plus $7 in interest, I say, Erin, you give me $103.50 today. Okay? So my real interest rate, although the IOU says 7%, my real interest rate that I'm paying Ms. Sandifer is only 3.5%. Because she just gave me $3.5 on top of the $100 she gave. That's called a premium. Okay? So I actually got $103.50 for giving her an IOU to pay her $100 in a year. That's called a premium. And that's going to be real important. In the second set of numbers you have, the ones that don't say not to exceed on them, you'll see under sources of bonds, a par amount, that's how much you would actually borrow, of $74,950,000. That's how much you would actually borrow. Okay? You'll also see on the next line a premium of $6,793,000. That's the same exact thing. So you're asking me, now look under uses, you'll see look under sources, you'll see the total we're going to net is $81,753,993 under sources, that third line. So I'm going to borrow $74 million, I'm going to get $7 million in premium, and I'm going to net almost $82 million. Okay? That's because we put 7% in all the documents, but we're not paying 7%. No way we're paying 7%. In fact, we're really going to pay about 3.5%. And in order to make that right, the people that are loaning us money are going to have to give us some extra. So what we do is we're not going to borrow $80 million. We're not going to borrow $90 million. We're going to borrow slightly less than $75 million. And that gets us back to the 80. So under the uses of funds, you'll see the first one is a deposit to the project fund of $80 million. You'll notice on these numbers that debt service reserve fund is gone. It's not there. That extra $9 million. And then you'll see the bond insurance is still there, and the bond insurance, the surety bond premium is still there. That is in lieu of that debt service reserve fund. So these are your real numbers. This is what we really think that in today's market this would look like. Okay? On the second page, I want to point out your coverage, which is the far right-hand column, debt service coverage. What is debt service coverage? We like to throw this word or these words around called coverage ratio. And what that means is for every dollar of debt that you owe someone, how much revenue do you have to pay them back? State law requires that when you do sales tax bonds, which these are sales tax bonds, you have a minimum coverage ratio of 125, which means that for every dollar of debt service you have in any one given year, you have $1.25 of revenue to pay it. That's a 125 coverage ratio. That's state law. You have to have that. That's a fairly normal and good coverage ratio that investors like to see. If you've got a 125 coverage ratio, you've got a pretty solid transaction. You'll notice on your current market numbers that your coverage ratio is almost 250 times. So your coverage ratio is about double what state law requires. So that's a very good coverage ratio. That means that you're telling the investors, we got double revenue that we need to pay the note. Investors like that, and you'll be rewarded for that with a lower interest rate. If we could turn on to the third page, and this is what I was talking about, the IOU with Aaron, and Aaron giving me $103.50 today instead of the $100. Look at those three columns I've got highlighted: rate, yield, and price. You'll notice the rate is flat. So there's no curve there. There's no yield curve there. We say 5% in the beginning. We say 5% at the end. But look at the next column. You're going to see that curve in the yield. That's the real interest rate that you're paying. You'll notice that in the first year you're paying 2.49, then 2.53, then 2.56, then 2.6. That curve is going up like it should. The longer those loans go out, you pay a little bit more in interest. The price is the premium. So on the 1-year bonds, the bonds that mature in 2026, you'll see the price is 101.768. That means for every $100 that someone loans you, they're going to give you $101.77. And if you look down at the last maturity on August 1 of 2036, you'll see the same thing. The IOU, the rate, is going to say 5%. That's going to be what's on the IOU. But the yield is only 3.88%. And the premium is, you'll see it says price is 108, let's just say 109. That means for every $100 that someone's going to loan you, or that you're going to borrow, they're going to give you $109. So for every IOU of $100 that you give them, they're going to give you $109 for that. That's where our premium comes in. And if you look over in the far right-hand column, it calculates that premium, and you can see again that same numbers right at $7 million would be your premium. And again, I've got another line highlighted down there: purchase price 81, premium is 108%. That's on the total bond issue. So on the total bond issue, on average, you're going to get about $8 more than the $100 for every $100 you borrow. The next page is your real interest rates, and again, I've got that true interest cost, that tick highlighted. In today's market, we think your rate would be right at 3.5%. So that's why I use the analogy with Aaron about the 7% is written on the IOU, but she's going to have to give me $103.50 today to get that real interest rate, that yield down to the 3.5%. And that's it. I know that's a lot of information, and I know that's a bunch of bond geek talk. To walk through the timeline real quick, we've got the resolution tonight. We've got to publish all that. We would make application to the State Bond Commission on September the 17th. We would have to come back to the Parish Council on September the 25th to introduce an ordinance, and then come back to the council a third time on October the 9th to adopt an ordinance. These bonds will be rated by Standard & Poor's. A lot of y'all have heard of the S&P 500 index. The S&P in that means Standard & Poor's. So these bonds will be rated. We anticipate they will have a rate of AA, which is excellent. That means that Standard & Poor's, the rating agency, will tell investors, this is AA rated paper. It's an investment grade paper. It's safe to invest in. And that's pretty much it. The resolution in front of you tonight, doesn't obligate, number one, doesn't obligate y'all to do anything. What it basically does is it tells me and my team to go to the State Bond Commission and make application to the State Bond Commission based on those not to exceed parameter numbers that we talked about first. This resolution tonight doesn't incur any cost, doesn't authorize us to borrow any money, doesn't obligate you to spend one penny. It basically tells us, go to the bond commission, go talk to the rating agencies, go talk to the bond insurance companies. Let's make sure what we think we have is what we really have. I know that's a lot of information, and I apologize for if I got to bean counter on you.
Billy, I make a motion that we allow Jim Ryan and his team to go to the state.
I got a motion by Councilman Shavers, second by Councilman Goff. I just want to make sure, is there anybody that wants to speak on this? I'm talking to the... All right, nope. Councilman Goff.
I got you. He's flagging me back in the back. Two things I wanted to point out is that this is the length of the sales tax on the ballot. In other words, we are not extending past what that collection dollar amount is.
Absolutely correct. You can't. Lenders won't do it.
I just want to make sure everybody's clear of that.
There's not a lender in the world that would touch it.
And one of the things that I think a lot of people would ask is, why would we just ask for that extra money with the explanation that you had with Aaron? And that is because that stack of documents have already been signed. So as it calculates and moves forward, calculated on 7, when we get out the other end, we're going to get it at 3.5. So they're just going to have to give us some more money. And that's why we're not
and not to get too geeky on you, Ricky, but there are, because of tax consequences that are way over my head, because I'm not a tax guy, there are times that investors want a premium. It's a tax advantage to them.
Right.
There are also times where they want a discount. It just depends upon the current tax environment in the market and how the economy is. But bonds never sell at that 7%. They're always going to sell at a yield of higher than that or lower than that, because we don't know until we go into the market that day and start taking bids what the market rate's going to be. So that 7% on that IOU that I gave Aaron is never 7%. It's just a function of exactly what you said. We'll spend months preparing documents, and this resolution is the first one, and we've got to stick something in there. And there will be probably investors that they know they're paying a premium, but they're going to want 5, 6, 7% on that IOU.
right.
It's taxes for them. It's tax advantage for them.
So another thing that I wanted to make sure and point out, I know there's a lot of questions, and that this bond thing came up out of the blue all at one time, and we're moving fast on it, somewhat fast, but it really isn't fast. If you look at the whole thing, we started this infrastructure committee, and we started putting some things together, and the Parish President's office was already working on a lot of things to evaluate our roads and what roads are in good shape and kind of what the traffic is on it, to really be able to put a dollar where a dollar needs to be and be good stewards of our citizens' monies. So I'm going to continue to use this phrase, and the Parish President uses it a lot: promise made, promise kept. And the promise made to the people of this parish, and I keep saying, keep the glass half full. We're doing what we need to do. We're 18 months into this, and boy, we've made a lot of headway. So I'm elated to be your councilman. So that being said, they were doing a lot of work to figure out what roads and what real condition our roads are in, and how could we catch up to the curve that we are so far behind. And then Ryan comes to us with the fact that the bond rating and the way the environment of the finances is in the world and the nation, that there's going to be a window of opportunity that we can get this bond at a lower rate, lower percentage rate. When you take and you look at our realistic numbers that are real numbers from Robert and M at DPW, material list, we've approved it here at this council, has had basically a 6% increase every year. So over a 5-year time frame, we had a 30% of increase in material. So that basically that means the house that I'm going to build today I can build it at $100 a square foot, but that house that I build later is going to be 100 and whatever 30% is. So when we look at that and we look at our rate, it started making a lot of sense. To help our curve is to go out to this rate and get this money ahead of time, but put it on roads that we need roads. And I will tell you that some of that money is going to go on one or two new roads that hopefully will, in my lifetime, will actually see cars on it, and that is the Jubin Road extension that's in the process, but we take that on up on Burgess Road and go through the power lines, and we will create a expressway from on a road, Kmarket Road, etc., straight down to the interstate with no red lights, so except for right in front of Jubin Crossing. So the other one is 449 to Black Mud Road to try to help get our industrial business and traffic in the industrial corridor where it belongs. So when the infrastructure, and I know I'm long-winded, but this is important information for the people to understand. The infrastructure committee started with, don't worry about the money. Make a plan. And then work the plan. When money comes, we get this project done. When money comes, we get that project done. So the plan, this money, even though it's a lot, 80 plus million, is not going to fix all of our problems, but it's going to help us get past that curve and get our a little bit more caught up on our traffic problem and our future traffic problems that are coming. We all know it. And it'll also address a lot of our parish roads that have physical cars running on them today. So I'm not a component to go in and blacktop a neighborhood, but the road that flows to that neighborhood, that's the one we need, because everybody uses that road. So we want to make sure that those are the first ones that we attack and we address and we make better and do it. So that being said, it's no different than animal control. We've been trying to fund animal control for many, many, many years. Mr. Delat, along with ARPA money and some other things, was able to build it. We got a little creative from the financing side of it, and everybody voted on it and approved it to where we could have some funds to be able to fund that on a long-term basis. We're not raising nobody's taxes doing these things. So when we tell you that we're working hard as a council and as administration, that's exactly what we're doing. But a lot of these things take time, and they got to be a little, kind of creative. And it's no different than your finances at home. Sometimes you got to get creative to get that automobile broke down. You got to get creative to get the funding to get it fixed. But you got to do what you got to do. So I'm gonna shut up, but I appreciate you and the administration and Mr. Mickey taking this and really going forward with the steps that we needed in a short period of time, because I know we're on a clock here. But once this is done and we have the roads, and I'm so elated to release all of the data that we have with the roads and to show the people, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen through the infrastructure here in the next month or so. And you will have a total picture, and this council will be able to vote on all of those roads and how we're doing them and kind of what the traffic is. I just simply ask you to understand that the road that's in your neighborhood, you have to use other roads on a regular basis to get there. And everybody else uses those roads too. And that's where the priority is. But as the money continues to filter down. Now, we don't forget about that, because we're not spending every penny like the 125. We will still have about $10 million, $8, $9, $10 million a year to be able to put on these same little neighborhood roads, like neighborhoods. So we're not going to not do a road program, but we're going to take this and spend our money as one big lump sum, or as Robert says, 15 different bid out projects to get more people on the ground, more people doing the work. But we're still going to have more to continue on. All right, I'm going to shut up.
Ricky's World. Ricky's World.
I just want to echo one thing that you said. I mean, Ricky, you and I have been talking, without violating my standard of confidentiality that I have to all of y'all. I think I can say, you know, for example, you and I have been talking about this since before you were sworn in, and I've had many, many conversations with other councilmen, and Mr. Delatt and I have been talking about this for probably, 3.5 years, Mr. President? So it is not something that happened at the last minute, for sure.
All right. All right. Vote on your iPad.
I have one more question. No, I'm kidding.
Denied.
This is just, yeah, okay.
All right. You can turn your mic on.
Okay, am I okay to talk? Ask him. I see the maturity rate is what, 2036?
I
On
believe
this
that's correct,
bond?
yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
The only thing I'm really asking here is, I'm looking at all these numbers here, and are these numbers able to be or subject to be changed for some unforeseen reason, such as a recession of some sort? Can these numbers that you gave us, that we're all looking at, can that fluctuate or can that change in the midstream?
I expect it absolutely will change, Mr. Erdy, because these numbers are based on current market, and bonds are just like stocks. They're bought and sold and traded every day. And so this is our best guess at what the numbers will look like. Interest rates have been slowly creeping down over the last few months. I think the 10-year was at a 4.21 today, which is probably as low as it's been in about 3 months. And I expect that to continue. There's now over an 80% chance, according to people who bet on this stuff, that the Fed will cut rates in September. That will help.
In something like the stock market, could that affect it greatly?
Yes, and I'll tell you the biggest thing that will affect it, and this is kind of a horrible fact about my business, is that if something bad happens, when something bad happens, investors around the world start investing in U.S. 10-year Treasury bonds. And believe it or not, almost every interest rate that you pay, whether it's on municipal bonds or your mortgage or your car loan or your student loan or your credit card or whatever, is a function of the 10-year Treasury yield. And so when something tragic happens and investors get nervous, like let's just say, you know, China invades Taiwan, interest rates would plummet the next day.
That's kind of what I'm asking. Things like such as that. So we got, but it's not 100% etched in stone throughout the 9 years.
It is the interest rate will be fixed. There will be a day in September where we will lock in a rate, and it is fixed forever.
Okay.
It's not a variable rate. So once we lock in, that's done. It's like going and getting a mortgage loan, a fixed rate mortgage. Once you lock in your mortgage rate, what happens in the market after that doesn't matter.
I got you. Just want to make clear of that. Okay, thank you.
And if I could, I mean, if I knew for certain, Mr. Erdy, I wouldn't be here. I'd be living on a private island in the Bahamas somewhere. But it's my opinion that that rates will continue to slowly decline. It's my opinion, and the markets believe this. The Fed will cut rates in September. So it's my hope that we get a little bit better deal than this.
Thank you. Waiting on 2 votes. Councilwoman Sandiford. And that passed unanimous. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right. We're underneath the Parish President's report. Parish President Randy Delatt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Allow me this opportunity. We have some citizens in the back, and I didn't do my job diligently enough to get on the agenda, so I apologize for that. We have a proclamation I would like to read out at y'all's convenience. Doesn't take a vote, doesn't take anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. Since 2020, our community has tragically lost 389 lives to drug overdoses. 160 of those were caused by fentanyl, leaving behind grieving families, friends, and loved ones. Each of these lives was valuable, and each loss is a stark reminder of the ongoing overdose crisis that continues to affect people of all backgrounds and walks of life. As a pledge to our commitment to education, prevention, and compassionate care in conjunction with the opioid abatement program, the Livingston Parish government buildings will be lit up in purple lights for August the 31st in honor of International Overdose Awareness Day and the month of September for National Recovery Month. I have 2 proclamations to read, if that's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Overdose Awareness Day for August the 31st, 2025. Whereas overdose is a public health crisis that affects individuals, families, and communities across the United States and around the world, and whereas August the 31st is recognized globally as International Overdose Awareness Day, a time to remember those who have lost their lives to overdose, acknowledge the grief felt by families and friends, and raise awareness about the importance of overdose prevention, treatment access, and support systems, and whereas overdose deaths are preventable and increased access to education, harm reduction, strategies, treatment resources, and public awareness can save lives. And whereas stigma, misunderstandings about substance use disorder often prevent individuals from seeking help, and it is our duty as a community to foster compassion, support, and understanding for those affected. And whereas we honor the tireless efforts of first responders, healthcare providers, harm reduction specialists, counselors, and recovery advocates who work daily to save lives and support healing, and whereas the observance provides an opportunity for reflection, unity, and advocacy for better policies and practices that reduce the devastating impact of overdose in our parish and beyond. Now, therefore, I, Randy Delatte, Livingston Parish President, do hereby proclaim August the 31st, 2025 as Overdose Awareness Day. I have one more, if permitted.
All right.
Okay, National Recovery Month, September 2025. Whereas the month of September is nationally recognized as Recovery Month, an opportunity to celebrate the strength and resilience of individuals living in recovery from substance use and mental health disorders, and whereas recovery is possible and millions of Americans are living proof that treatment works and people can and do recover to live full, healthy, and meaningful lives. And whereas the National Recovery Month highlights the dedicated professionals, peers, families, and organizations that provide support and services to those on their recovery journeys, and whereas it is critical to reduce stigma and misconceptions surrounding addiction and mental health by recognizing that substance use disorders is a treatable medical condition, not a moral failing. And whereas this month serves as a call to action to expand access to prevention, treatment, and recovery support services, and to build equitable systems of care for all communities, and whereas we affirm our commitment to building a recovery-ready Livingston Parish that embraces hope, promotes healing, and supports every person seeking recovery, and whereas community engagement, education, and compassion are the cornerstones of creating a society where recovery is recognized, supported, and celebrated. Now, therefore, I, Randy Delatte, Livingston Parish President, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as National Recovery Month in Livingston Parish, and encourage all residents to support recovery efforts, celebrate recovery success stories, and continue building a community where everyone can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have 2 announcements I'd like to make, if you didn't mind. There was an inmate that passed away Tuesday night, and it was this investigation was underneath natural causes, and they're not going to do an autopsy. That saves a little bit of money. The second one was the IEDs and thing y'all had voted, saved one person, documented it's already saved one person's life, and it was a letter written from the doctor, how proactive y'all were. And I'll get that to y'all. Okay.
Thank you. Number 11, authorization to execute and file an application for the Council on Aging DOTD grant under 49 CFR 5311 Non-Urbanized Area Fund and 49 CFR 35339 Discretionary Capital Program, Ms. Stephanie Landry. Or Mr. McMorris.
Mickey McMorris, Finance Director. Ms. Stephanie asked me to present this. This is a flow-through. For quite some years, it just flows through our budget, doesn't cost us anything. The money comes from, I think it comes from the federal government through DOT to the Council on Aging. And we had an opportunity to visit Council on Aging last week or the week before. And it's really awesome to see what Council on Aging does for our senior citizens. They had nearly 200 people there that were fed by this organization. I think on a daily, they provide the meals to these folks daily. So it was really touching to my heart to see what they do, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Do we need to do a resolution? Or Dina? All right, I need a motion. Motion by Councilman Wascom, second by Councilman Erdy. All right, vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. Ms. Sandy, would you read the next one? Would you read the next one? Number 12. Yeah.
Okay, this is a proposed resolution. Going to be whoever makes the motion, whoever makes the second, for the authorization of the parish president's signature and the submission of the Delta Regional Authority's Community Infrastructure Fund application for the Denham Heights Sewer Lift Station project that will provide funding for community sewer to Denham Heights subdivision and the surrounding area, whereby rendering the necessary tools to enhance infrastructure and support economic growth.
Mr. Robert Dugas.
Yes, sir. We're just asking for a resolution for the application. This is a competitive grant, so we're not assured of it. But this is actually an area that's kind of caught between the sewer district and the city of Denham. So we've done some work on it, trying to figure out how we get it tied in. And
I make a motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Shavers, second by Councilman Mangus. Vote on your iPad.
It's just a one dead end road, correct?
it's actually a T.
It's got one road that goes
in and one
Springdale
goes
or something?
Springdale, and
Yep.
there's a American something on the other road, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Councilman Hardy. Oh, there we go. That passed unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, public hearing and adoption of LP ordinance 25-14. An ordinance to acquire immovable property for the Parish of Livingston pursuant of the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Project number FEMA 4277 DRLA 0131 Livingston Parish, located at 25878 New Hope Avenue, Denham Springs 70726. All right, I'm going to open this up for public hearing. Anybody want to speak for or against? Close public hearing.
Can I read it by title real fast?
You can read it by title.
This will be proposed ordinance 25-14. It's an ordinance to acquire movable property for the Parish of Livingston pursuant to the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, project number FEMA-4277-DR-LA-0131 Livingston Parish. The homeowner is Mr. Paul Douglas Cormier. The address in question is 25878 New Hope Avenue, Denham Springs, Louisiana, 70726.
All right, got a motion by Councilwoman Sanford, second by Councilman Watts. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. Item C, public hearing and adoption of LP ordinance 25-15, an ordinance to acquire immovable property for the Livingston Parish pursuant of the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, FEMA-427-DR-LA-0124, Livingston Parish, located at 15945 Cypress Point Lane, French Settlement, LA 70733. Open this for public hearing. Anybody? Close public hearing. Ms. Sandy, we read that by title.
This is proposed ordinance 25-15. It's an ordinance to acquire movable property for the Parish of Livingston pursuant to the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, project number FEMA-4277-DR-LA-0124-Livingston Parish. The homeowner in question is John Peltier Jr. and Nicole Peltier, and the address is 15945 Cypress Point Lane, French Settlement, Louisiana, 70733.
Present.
The point I want to make here, guys, both those, the one you just voted on and this one, was 100% grant funded, no money from the parish on the match or the homeowners.
Awesome. All right. So do we have a motion by Councilman Mangus? Who was second? Second by Councilwoman Sanford. Councilman Mangus, Councilwoman Sanford. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. 13, Livingston Parish Zoning Commission. Case number 25-25. Address is 3812 Nan Wesley Road, parcel number 0555920, R1 to R1.5. This is Councilman Shaver's district, and it was the recommendation from Planning and Zoning was to approve. Councilman Shaver's, yep. The public input, 1 second. All right, public input. You can come on up.
Hi, I'm the owner of the property. The only thing I
Get
see
your
is
name,
Lynn Dupree.
and I'm guessing this is your address?
No.
Okay, can I get your address?
This is incorrect. Mine is 38131.
381.
I don't want to take my neighbor's property.
381. We got 381.
It's correct. It's correct on the paperwork right here.
Is it?
38131 Nan
That's
West.
it.
No.
That's it. I
Yeah,
just
what
wanted,
went through the P&Z is correct.
okay. I just wanted to make sure y'all are aware that it was not correct on here. Okay.
Yep. All right. So we will. So there was a motion on Councilman Shavers, second by Councilwoman Sanford. Mr. Yes, you can speak.
Mike.
Can we, Ms. Teal, make a notification that we need to make a change to this agenda? Because the agenda says 38121. Yes.
We'll make
Okay.
Okay. All right. Vote on your iPad.
I just want to say something really quick, just for the record. Everything that surrounds that property is R1, so we're putting R1.5 smack dab in the middle of R1. I just want that stated for the record.
All right. That passed unanimous. Item B, case number 25-29 at 30464 Bo Sawyer Drive, parcel number 0100321, R1 to R1.5, Council District Number 4. This came with a recommendation from Planning and Zoning to approve.
Yeah, this is in my district, District 4. Mr. J.L. Schilling's son, who used to be a police chairman, Mr. J.L. Schillings, he passed away, and the family's no longer living there, but they have these right at 2 acres, and they have 2 children, so they wanted to divide it. Well, when he came to the council, we voted to allow him to subdivide it, but we had to do a waiver because it was like 1.95 acres, and it didn't quite make enough to make 2, so we gave him a waiver. But now that we have zoning in, it don't fit in the 1, so at 1.5 would fit. So I'd like to make that motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Wascom, second by Councilman Mangus. Open public hearing. Close public hearing. All right. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. Item C has been pulled by the owner's request. Item D, case number 25-31, LA Highway 63, Tall Pine Subdivision, C2 to R2, Council District 8. The recommendation from Planning and Zoning was to approve. You make that motion. Got a motion by Councilman Coates.
Second.
Got a second by Councilman Wascom.
I would like to clarify something.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Just so that everyone is aware, we have an economic corridor that's coming up through LA 60. This is on LA 60. Right across from Fairland Road, for those of y'all know what that is. However, whenever we were doing the zoning process, this was
All right. Councilman Mangus.
Mr. Coates, is this area, are they actually developed this R2 or not?
that's what I'm saying, the lots in that area are already around quarter-acre lots.
Okay.
So some do have houses on them, some do not. But if it's labeled as commercial, they would not be able to do anything with it as far as putting any more residences.
That's correct.
It was miszoned.
Okay. And
Okay.
what was the decision by the planning and zoning?
To approve.
To approve? Okay. Thank you.
And also, this is a legal platted subdivision, probably from 30 years back.
83, I think.
So it is already a subdivision, legally platted.
All right.
Match.
Thank you. All right. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. F, case number 25-33 on a road parcel number, E, I skipped one. 2532-14422 Lockhart Lane, parcel number 0279109 Alpha R2 to R1. This is in Council District 7. The recommendation was to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve that based on the planning commission as well.
Got a motion by Councilman Goff, second by Councilman Mangus. Is there anybody here to speak or for or against? Nope. Vote on your iPad. All right. F, case number 2533 on a road parcel number 0452862 Alpha R1 to R4 Council District 1. The recommendation from Planning and Zoning was to deny. All right, there is no motion on the floor, so we will move to the next one. What? Somebody's got to make a motion. Oh, you got a motion to deny? All right, so there needs to be a motion to deny? Okay, I got a motion by Councilman Watts, second by Councilman Mangus. I'm sorry, I'm skipping over myself. All right, is anybody here to speak for or against? Nope. Okay. Vote on your iPad. If you vote yes, it's to deny.
Watts's district and your motion, correct? Okay.
All right. That passed unanimous with the denial. G, case number 2534, 9166 Cockerham Road, parcel number 0087791, R2 to C1, Council District 4. The recommendation was to approve. I believe this was for businesses that are already on that road that have been there for 40 years.
That is correct. Right there on Cockham Road, across the street, was commercial. On that side, there's been residents there since I was a little boy. The computer place is still there, the car lot's there, Tiger Electric, the M&D Quick Stop, and there's a shopping center. It just wasn't zoned properly at the time, because Maryland behind it is still residential, but that area has been commercial ever since. So this is the next three. I don't know if you could pick
That's what I
off.
was gonna say, the next three are
Can
for
we
the
just
same
pick them all up
landowner.
for that one? So my motion
Yeah.
would cover all the next, G, H, and J, I,
What'd you
if
say?
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to read all three of them,
Okay,
and we'll
that's
vote
fine.
on
There you go.
all three of them at the same time. All right, case number 25-34, 9190 Cockerham Road, parcel numbers 00518, 05R2 to C1, and case number 2535, 9174 Cockerham Road, parcel number 0076612, R2 to C1. Anybody here to speak for or against? I don't see anybody. All right. Mr. Wascom made a motion, second by Councilman Mangus. Vote on your iPad. All right, that was approved unanimous. J, case number 2536, 32569 Clinton Allen Road, parcel number 0049676 R1 to I2. This is in my district. The recommendation from Planning and Zoning was to approve. Got a motion by Councilwoman Sanford.
I'm trying to hit request to speak, but it's not letting me. I just want to say really quick, this is pipe and steel, which I'm totally fine with. And I need to get with Kylie on something, but they have road access, and I'm good with their rezone request, but they have road access on Clinton Allen, and I just want to make sure that, and state it for the record, that when they go to present their plat to do the addition to the facility, that that traffic is not coming off of onto Clinton Allen Road, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we can address that.
Okay.
Got a second by Councilman Goff. Anybody speak for or against? Nope. All right, vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. Okay, case number 2537, address 20681 LA Highway 16, parcel number 0217802, R1 to C1, this is Council District 5. The recommendation was to approve. Councilwoman Sanford made a motion. Got a second by Councilman Shavers. Anybody here to speak for or against? Nope. All right. Vote on your iPad. The motion was by Councilwoman Sanford to approve and Councilman Shavers. Second. All right.
Oh, sorry.
All right. That passed unanimous. Number 14, we pulled that. The minutes are not complete. Public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 25-16, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125, Section 125, 137 prohibits and restrictions of use, deleting Part B, semicolon 3, removing mobile home waiver list. Councilwoman Sanford.
Does somebody want to read it? Can somebody read it? Okay.
This is proposed ordinance 25-16, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125, Planning and Development, Section 125-137, prohibitions and restrictions of use of the Code of Ordinances in and for the Parish of Livingston. Also need to make a note that I made a mess up on this, and it has the old section number, so we're going to need to amend it and adopt as amended on my part. It's just,
All right.
nothing's changing except the section number.
So we'll make a... Yep, want to open the public hearing.
Lynn Dupree? No.
You don't want to speak on that one? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Rick T? No,
Same
okay.
thing? All
Sorry.
right. Anybody else? I'm going to close public hearing. Oh, we got one more? Okay. 2 minutes.
Gary Talbot, 35002 Ben Road. I got a question. Why don't we, instead of eliminating the list, why don't we fix the ordinance and say, let's eliminate the trailer part of that ordinance and say if zoning allows for a trailer, then we have a trailer. If zoning doesn't allow for it, don't have it. But why do we adopt zoning and then keep ordinances that are in conflict?
So can I speak to that?
I can. Stay tuned. We are in the middle of working on this. Right now, our zoning ordinances are based on this ordinance.
But we have adopted zoning. So if you zoned R1 that allows a trailer, why are we having a conflict with an existing ordinance that's got, I mean, I own 2 lots in a subdivision on this list. So and across the street from me are 2 trailers on 2 lots across the street from the 2 lots I own. My question is, we're going to take that subdivision out of the list, yet we're not going to allow however it's zoned be priority? I mean, why are we going to eliminate a list and still have an ordinance that's conflict with zoning? I mean, we've created a list, we've got subdivisions that have trailers in them already because zoning allows for it. Why are we going to eliminate the list and not fix the ordinance? That's my point. I mean, let's fix the ordinance. Let's don't partially change something that exists currently. That's it. That's the question I have. I mean, why are we going to adopt a change tonight that's going to negatively impact people that will put them in conflict with zoning? Let's correct it properly. That's my point.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adopt.
We got to amend it first.
Okay, so motion to amend
Section number.
section number. Okay.
All right, so we've got a motion to amend by the section numbers. Councilwoman Sanford, got a second by Councilman Shavers. This is to the removal of the, Yeah, this is to fix their mistake. All right. Vote on your iPad.
Yeah.
And that was just to fix the mistake. Yeah, to fix the section number. All right. That passed unanimous, or that passed 8 yeas, 1 no. Councilman Watts voted no. That was just to fix the amended. Now we have to vote on, we got to adopt it as amended. Councilman Mangus. Yes, but we need a motion. We amended the agenda. Now we have to, all right. So, Councilwoman Sanford?
A motion.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Sanford. Yeah.
I'll second.
Got a second by Councilman Coates. And the public hearing is closed. All right. Anybody want to speak on this? All right, Councilman Mangus? Mike.
Mr. Keene, can you talk to what Mr. Talbot said as far as that goes? Is because
I don't know. So I know what he's talking about. So it'd be more like the legacy things we've talked about before. Mr. Brian Clemens talks to us about it a lot. If things are existing prior to changing the ordinances, how do we help people through that? And I think Ms. Sandifer's speaking to that in the UDC. There may be some changes that y'all are wanting to make that'll make it clearer. And I think what Mr. Talbot is talking about is if you did that tonight, it wouldn't negatively affect anything, but it would keep maybe a problem from arising in between now and the time UDC comes in. That's the only thing I can get from it. Would it fix everything to get rid of the ordinance? I don't know. It would help my world a lot because I'm in the planning department. Y'all are trying to make us deal with civil, and we don't deal with civil. So if the ordinance was just gone, zoning would dictate what happens in every subdivision. If there was a subdivision, let's say Plantation Estates, 1 acre lots or bigger, and in their restrictions it says no trailers, and somebody starts building a house, a trailer pad, then it would be up to the people in that subdivision to stop it. Because we can't enforce it anyhow. Parish doesn't have the ability to enforce covenant. You know, so that's something to think about. I don't know where y'all would go with that.
Do you understand? Do you understand?
I do, but what type of changes can you allude to any of that? If we vote for it now, how is that?
Well, you've got something on the agenda, and just further down the agenda, that if the council approves that waiver, they go on the waiver list by this ordinance. So somebody can go in tomorrow and apply for a mobile home and put another mobile home in there without any oversight.
All right, Councilman Watts.
How's this going to affect, like, land up on 63? I bought some land up there years ago in the early 80s, and it's 3-acre tract. It was sold probably 22, 23-acre tract, and then they subdivided it. But they had to put a name on it. Even though it's 3-acre tracts, they had to put a name on it for a subdivision because the parish required it. How's that going to affect some vacant lots in that area that you know, because of a name subdivision, they can't put a trailer?
I don't think you need a waiver to put a mobile home on 3 acres.
If I could,
If it's a name
It's a
subdivision.
name subdivision.
Okay.
You see?
How you doing, Mr. Ladd?
hey. Whichever way y'all vote tonight is ultimately up to you. The only thing that I ask is, if you do away with the waiver list, then anyone who is in a named subdivision has the option to come to y'all for a waiver. So it's still going to be coming to you because there is still that ordinance. So you either keep the waiver list, the book, or the list, and anyone in that list, on that waiver list, who have been granted waivers previously, does not have to come to you. You do away with the book, then everyone will have to come to you if they're in a named subdivision. So either we are in the business of enforcing subdivision regulations, or we back up like the judge had told us years back with the previous lawsuit like this, and we let zoning dictate how we move forward. The ordinance was placed with Mr. Wascom and the previous council after the 16 flood because we didn't have zoning. But we have zoning now, and we could let zoning dictate the rules, get us out of the business of enforcing subdivision regulations, and put that on that subdivision HOA to have to enforce the rules that they have put into place and that they've chosen to live in that subdivision.
Just by taking this out, we're not enforcing subdivision regulations. The other parts of the ordinances, for example, no mobile homes in a named subdivision. Our zoning code, and I spoke with Nathan about this, they wrote the zoning. This is all we have for mobile homes. And all this is doing is basically the meat of it is if any applicants seek permitting and their property is located within a named subdivision that has been previously added to this list, the applicant will not apply in duplicate for the waiver as previous determination has been made. So if they're in a subdivision, in a named subdivision, they're just going to have to ask us for a waiver instead of it automatically going through. And that happened because of the flood of 2016. And yeah, people needed RVs, they needed mobile homes. It was a catastrophe. And so like FEMA is doing right now, they have come down with a date to stop the acquisitions and the raising of the properties that flooded. At some point, we have got to pull the plug and get back on track. And yes, absolutely let the zoning do what zoning does.
So I just and that's fine. Like I said, that is y'all's choice. But we deal with this at least once a week, where people come in a named subdivision for mobile homes, and they're going to have to come to y'all for waivers. So getting rid of this does not get rid of you still having to come before you to request a waiver. That's all I do want y'all to know. It's not going to end your problem. In fact, it's going to escalate and make it worse. Correct. 10 times worse. Correct. And that's y'all's choice. I just wanted to give you the information, and whichever direction y'all want to go with it. There were some questions as to, well, what happens if we do away with this? Well, then what happens is we're out of it, our office, and then it comes to y'all if they choose for a waiver.
And that's our job.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct. So, thank you.
I just want to verify that, or clarify that definitely it is your choice. We will administrate whatever you vote on. I just want to make that clear. We have lost some cases where you try to enforce subdivision coverage. We just make sure that when we make those changes that we cover ourselves, and I would beg that Mr. Moody would help look at those things, or the land, whoever we have. But it's been less than 6 years ago that we lost a case because we got sued on what they claimed we was trying to enforce coverage. We wasn't. We was following our ordinance, but we didn't win that case. I'm just saying, just when you make the changes or whatever you're going to do, it's your choice. Just think about protecting ourselves legally on how when you make it. So, but whatever way you vote, we're happy, whichever way you vote.
All right, Councilman Goff.
So this gets a little complicated, but Mr. Steve or Marty, one of y'all, I'm gonna have a question if y'all want to make y'all's way up. So I'm okay with doing away with the list. It's a list. You know, if they want to come up here and there's 100 in the room and 100 applications, it's fine. The problem that we have is the fact that we had no zoning, and a lot of this property is situated in pre-zone timeframe. Mm-hmm. And they have named subdivisions because back in the day you had to give it a name to subdivide property. So then when they put the ordinance in place for the flood to say no mobile homes in a named subdivision, inadvertently all of the property, even if you wanted to subdivide it to give it to your daughter, falls under that category. Pre-zoning as well. So when they come in to ask for even if they are R1, and they come in to ask for a permit for their mobile home on there, and this thing's been there for 20 years, 50 years, 60 years, whatever it is, because it's identified and was required back when as a named subdivision, we can't give it to them. So they got to come and ask for a waiver. So it's a case-by-case basis, but as they always say, you got to draw a line in the sand. The line in the sand here is zoning. Anything that's zoning moving forward will be conducted under zoning. Anything back, if it happens to fall into this category, in this weird zone area, not zone, in this weird scope of things, because it was subdivided years ago, then we just got to handle those case-by-case basis. And the biggest question here is, what is the existing use before zoning took place? Because your rights as a citizen is to have your property and be able to do what you need with it. When we go forward and they change their property and have it rezoned and do something else, then it goes into the new stage. But if they come up and ask for something and they are R1 and it's family property, it's divided up into 4 different pieces, and then because back in the 60s they had to have a named subdivision, they have to give a waiver, right? So my question to you is very simple.
I don't promise to give a simple answer.
I know. I appreciate that. So I'm okay with doing away with the list. I don't think it makes one way difference or another. Either the person goes to the planning commission department and they try to handle it, or they come to this podium and try to handle it. We're going to take care of the citizens because it's pre-zoned and it's such a complex piece depending on what their particular circumstances are. We got to address it. My thought process is if someone walks into the planning department and asks for a mobile home, and their property was pre-zoned in this particular area, and it's a named subdivision, whatever it is, and that whole development that's being considered as a development pre-zoning, the use of that property had 5 other mobile homes in it. I believe in my heart that the Planning Commission should have the right, because that was pre-existing uses of that development that was subdivided out, and people that live in that community live in it with mobile homes. So they should be able to give them the permit to put a mobile home in there based on pre-existing conditions. The same thing applies if it's a development with all homes in it. If they come in and ask for, because it's R1, and ask for a mobile home park, because it's a development, our ordinance says no mobile home in a development. And the pre-existing status of that was all homes, and it should be denied. I know that sounds like I'm contradicting myself, and it kind of is because the circumstances are different.
So can you get to, what's the question? You've asked like 3 questions in one question.
I think it's
What is
really
the
just
actual
not
question?
that complicated.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's just basically cut and dry, straight up.
You know what my question is.
All right.
Does the planning department have the ability to evaluate that and give a waiver based on the pre-existing conditions of that mobile home property and moving forward? That and or with the all homes?
Okay. What I'm going to do in answer to that is describe the decision tree that the planning department would have to go through under the situation that you're describing. All right. The first step in the decision tree is, does the zoning of the property allow a mobile home? If the zoning of the property does not allow a mobile home, it ends. They're not allowed. The second step of the decision tree is the property is subdivided, because this only applies in a subdivision that's been created or being created. If the subdivision that was created envisions only stick-built homes, no mobile homes, then this provision applies. They would have to have a waiver in order to do it. Now, the provision that's being eliminated allows the council to grant a blanket waiver for the subdivision. There's actually another provision that allows for a waiver in individual cases, which has been treated more as hardship cases as opposed to the blanket waiver list that we've got. So if you have a subdivision that's zoned so that mobile homes can be there, and the subdivision has allowed mobile homes, in other words, has not prohibited mobile homes, then it could go forward and continue to have mobile homes. This does not apply. This only applies in the situation where you have a subdivision that has not allowed mobile homes, and it's in an area that's zoned where mobile homes could be there. And if it's historically not allowed mobile homes, we've eliminated the ability of the council to grant the subdivision a waiver and let people put mobile homes in it. The only power that the council would have at this point in time would be to consider a particular individual circumstance and grant them a waiver, which I think normally has been a temporary waiver for a particular hardship situation. Does that answer your question?
It does, and let's take it one more little piece. If the mobile home if the mobile home in our existing ordinance is not allowed, but the pre-existing use of that property was for mobile homes, take it from there.
It does answer your question, but it doesn't. Here's the problem. It's just like
Councilwoman Sandifer and Mr. Latt were talking about back and forth. What it does, what this change does, is it shifts the responsibility back to you guys to address on a case-by-case basis whether it applies or it doesn't apply. It takes it away from the administration to be able to look down this list and say, oh, look, this subdivision's on the list. We can go ahead and grant the waiver, right? That's gone. Once you take that out, their ability to do that is gone. So the people then are redirected to their individual council people to ask the question, and I have a waiver. That's what you're going to get over and over and over and over again. And that's what Mr. Latt's warning you about. So if you want to get rid of that and redirect it to yourself, then that's what you can do. Is that fair, Mr. President? So anyway, go ahead, Steve.
Like I say, the only situation where this becomes an issue is if the zoning of the subdivision would allow mobile homes, but the subdivision has traditionally not allowed mobile homes. And in that case, the council would no longer be empowered to grant a waiver for that subdivision. It could still consider an individual circumstance. Now, this is, after that, this is a business decision for the council and the administration. That's what the effect of this is.
Thank you. Did that answer your question? Councilman Mangus.
I have a question. If we were to remove 125, 137, what would that do?
If 125 or 137 was totally removed,
yes,
the only restriction on mobile homes being in a particular subdivision would be whatever the zoning classification is.
And if the subdivision's covenants, HOA, didn't allow it?
That would be a legal contractual thing between the people in the subdivision that the council wouldn't be involved in.
Right, and that the onus would be then on the HOA.
It would be on their back to enforce the...
So anything commercial, well, not anything commercial, anything R2 and R2 wouldn't allow it. Right. So
you would be able to have a mobile home in the other zoning classifications that allow it.
Every other residential zoning classification, R1, R1.5.
No, R1.5 already has the mobile homes.
R2
does not.
You can't have on an R2.
R1 would allow mobile homes.
R1 already does.
Already does.
Well, I'm talking about if you remove this whole thing, they don't have to come. The zoning is out. It doesn't.
No,
no
zoning,
mobile homes in a named subdivision is what this is saying. That's what's holding that back. So if you remove the whole thing.
All right. Are you done?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Councilwoman Sandifer.
I do have a legal question. So this is where it gets kind of sticky and complicated. An R1 subdivision where mobile homes, where it would be under litigation because the mobile homes were allegedly placed there illegally. But they're there, so they were permitted to have another mobile home or more placed in there. It's my understanding that it's under litigation. So they have been removed from the mobile home list, waiver list. So if we do away with this, that waiver list will go away. So what happens when tomorrow?
The prohibition of mobile homes that this describes is within this section. So the prohibition would go away, and the only prohibition for mobile homes that would exist would be the zoning classification of the property at issue.
So if it's R1 and it's got mobile homes in it now, do they still have to come back for a waiver?
If it's R1, which allows mobile homes, and this was repealed,
And it's a name subdivision.
if it's R1 and this is repealed, the restriction for having mobile homes in a named subdivision would go away, and those mobile homes would be legal.
Okay, so that said, I will make a motion to table this to the next meeting.
And,
Yeah.
and I will, I've spoken with Mr. Aaron about this, Ms. Sanford, earlier today and some others. So I would be willing 100% to sit down with Scooter, Mr. Marty, because Mr. Marty can help us. And then when we come back, he said he's an attorney.
He said he's the interpreter.
Oh, an interpreter,
For me.
okay, I got you, thank you. So, we come back with some, because there is a lot of questions and caveats, because this goes back, because the name subdivision years ago, and we come back with something that is a lockdown and got all our questions answered, and make sure we don't get in any kind of a legal situation, and that we don't have hundreds of people having to come to this council for direction. So I'll be willing to.
All right, so we got a
do that.
substitute motion from Councilwoman Sanford to table this to the, Councilwoman Sanford amended her motion to table this to the next council meeting. And Dean, are you still with the, all right?
Yes.
We did have Mr.
I just want to say something. Again, I don't know if I was clear when I was saying it earlier. First off, I'll back up a little bit. That's great leadership you're showing there, especially Ms. Sanford. If the name subdivision allows a mobile home and we don't give them that right, I think we have been sued in the past. Is all I'm saying. We can write the ordinance with help of the attorneys to get accomplished what Ms. Sanford is saying, and we just got to do the legal aspect. We just lost a case less than 6 years ago.
So I think that's what we're doing, is tabling this. So we did have some individuals that wanted to speak on this. So I'm going to open this up for public hearing. Even though we're tabling it, they're here, they have their opportunity, but they'll have an opportunity in another 2 weeks. Yeah. They didn't want to, nobody else, so I'm going to close it again. All right, vote on your iPad. Next meeting. I'm a yes. Mrs. Sandy, will you reread it?
I just need to state that the public hearing will be held on September 11th at 6 p.m. And I'm going to re-advertise it in the official journal.
All righty. Everybody's voted. Yes, to table. To the next meeting. Yep, that motion passed to table to the next meeting. All right. Public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 25-19, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 Subdivision Regulations, Section 125-37, requirements of minor subdivisions. Councilman Shavers.
Yeah, so this this is just a public hearing and hopefully to adopt. I'm here to take any last-minute suggestions anybody would like to add, any questions. I think from talking with Scooter, and he's here to correct me if I'm wrong, since we brought up minor resubs and changing the law, we've got 41 applications sitting at the planning department, and I think we need to act quickly in getting this thing adopted, and I think it's a really good piece of legislation. It probably does need some changes, and I'm all for them. And I'm all ears on them. I just think we need to get it adopted before we really get hit with them. How many did you get today?
We got 7.
7 applications.
When I checked at 1:30, we got 7 since this morning.
7 applications since this morning.
And you're absolutely right. If we don't put something in place, it's getting out of hand. Because once people hear about changing, they like, well, let's go.
Yeah.
yes, it's gonna need amending. We have a lot of things that we know,
Let's
you
do it.
know. If you get it in place, we can work on it together.
Yep.
Tell you what works for most
do it.
people, you know, legacy things, and
Let's do it.
I got one thing I would like for you to amend. I don't know if it has to be done tonight. That's necessary. Where I talked about it, said it shall be sent to the P&Z and to the council, every minor resub. Well, if we had to send 41 to y'all would never get out of here. So it can say it may be, you know, maybe, but when it says shall, that means all of them have to go. Even if it's just cutting-
So I'll do that. Caroline, you ready? There's two things. I want to change it to shall to may be sent to P&Z.
Everything else we can work on.
One more thing that you had suggested that I agree with, and then changing the date of January 1st, 2020 to changing it to August 28th, 2025. And that just kind of gives it a good little catch-up period
All
to
right.
most recent up-to-date.
Councilman Mangus?
Mr. Keene, on the shall to may, you said it was shall to P&Z and the council?
Yeah, it says to both.
Okay, can we, Mr. Shavers, can we keep the shall just to P&Z? Because they then send it to us. But if you have it shall to both,
Would they still send it to the council if it just went to, I don't think so.
Hold on. Let me
may means they don't have to.
Let me back up just a second. So minor resubs go to the planning department, and they do not go to P&Z, and they do not come to the
They don't
council.
go anywhere. So if we see that there's a major issue with one, we're gonna send it to P&Z, and then they can forward it to y'all if they see that it needs.
With the recommendation
Yeah,
of-
absolutely.
Okay.
And that's what it needs to say. Because y'all don't see, they don't see them, nobody sees them right now.
So shall to P&Z and
No, I wouldn't put either. Just let us decide in the office. Yeah, it does.
Change it from shall to may.
Yeah, I would
Please.
just do may on.
As amended from the date.
Any of them that have.
Okay,
drainage
let me
issues
work
and
on
things
this
like that are gonna go
resolution.
to P&Z. We can't. make
Councilman
that
Watts?
I'm looking here.
Turn on your mic. Are you adding or subtracting anything? Because
I'm sorry.
we haven't even put a motion on to do this yet. That we were just talking to see what needed to be changed real quick. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna have Miss Sandy read it, and then I'm gonna open for public comment. Oh, you got questions though? We'll get to you. Miss Sandy, can you read that by title?
Okay, this is proposed ordinance 25-19. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish subdivision regulations, Section 125-37, requirements for minor subdivision as follows.
All right. We're gonna open for public hearing. I think we got one.
Jeremy, Idell.
Hey. All right, state your name.
Jeremy
address?
Idell.
Address?
17141 Simon Lane in French
Okay.
Settlement. So I saw most of you at the State of the Parish and want to commend you all on the job you're doing. It's thankless and you're not paid enough, as Randy said. But anyway, I've got many constituents in my area that have brought this ordinance to my attention, and I wanted to speak against it because I felt obligated. I think there's some good things in this ordinance, Mr. Shavers. I think there really is, but I think as a CPA, the incremental cost from the 6th to the 7th lot is just it's got me troubled, and want to understand basically how that's going to be advertised, because I was just sitting there thinking about it. I just bought a bottle of water at the store, and it was advertised for $2. And, it's, the first 6 go out the door at $2, but the 7th bottle, who's going to change the price? How are we going to change the price and track that as a council? So that was just an example I had. But anyway, I know a lot of large landowners in this parish that want to give their kids and grandkids and great-grandkids lots, and I think there's some some definite things that need to be done here to make sure that is able to be done. And I would ask that we at least table this until the citizens can further understand those incremental costs, because I'm not saying this is a hidden property tax here, but the cost of doing all these studies and stuff from the 6th to the 7th lot isn't clearly stated, and I think people that may be buying that 7th lot may have a surprise on their hands when they purchase it. So just want to understand that. Maybe y'all could comment on that, but that's what I've been hearing from my constituents. I'm not a subject matter expert on dividing land, but I am a CPA, and that gives me some pause. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
On the public comment, me and Jeremy is great friends, but I got to go with Ron on this one. We have a lot of issues, and a lot of people are exploiting the what? Yeah, a lot of people are exploiting by going around and taking the loophole. Yes, we know we're going to have some changes to be made, but if we adopt it, we got something in place that we can go ahead and start making those changes. It's not the 7th lot that's giving us the problem. It's the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Then do it again, the 6th. And I applaud you for taking that step. You even admitted that there's some changes going to be made. And I think we have to do that, guys, to stay consistent. If not, you're exposing a loophole, and we know about it. So let's fix the loophole. And
Thank you.
And nothing against you, Jeremy, but.
And I want to also say that the drainage and traffic impact study, guys, you don't know how important it is for when we can tell a constituent of ours that lives next to a minor resub that's been subdivided, hey, we got to know where the water's going. We're going to know where the traffic's going. We've got the studies. The developer paid for it. If it makes you feel better, all you got to do is call the planning department and they'll give it to you. So I think for our constituents of the parish to know that why are these popping up 5 at a time, 6 at a time, 7 at a time over a course of 3-4 years, we could tell our constituents that they paid their dues, they paid for the drainage impact study, we know where the water is going. It's not just that we're trying to, screw anybody in the process. It's just that for a long time this has been going on, and our constituents deserve better. And we, at the end of the day, when we see development, we should be able to say that that developer paid for the studies that we require, and this is what they show. So I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Well, okay, so the amendment says, so this is what the Senate says. The planning director shall send the minor subdivision to the Planning and Zoning Commission at the parish council if any drainage or road infrastructure is required. That needs to be changed to may. It did say may, but I changed it to shall. And then it says all lot sizes will follow the current zoning classifications, but no lot shall be smaller than 1/2 acre. The entire property as it was owned on January 1st, 2020, and thereafter is the parent tract. We change that to today. Correct. And then that'll give, Randy will sign it, whenever. I don't know how many days, but yeah, just change it to today's date. I think that's what Scooter and I had talked about.
Yeah, I think that's fair to the people.
Yep.
All right, so I got a motion to adopt as amended from Councilman Shavers.
I'll second.
Got a second by Councilwoman Sandiford.
And I
Councilman-
want to
Councilwoman-
say, everything is subject to change at all times. Everything, we are constantly building and moving.
We got one more person that wants to speak. I never closed it, so that's my bad. I never closed it.
I'll aggravate y'all just for 2 minutes. Eddie Idell.
You get a minute 30.
1 minute. I'll try to do it in 1 minute. So if I'm interpreting the new ordinance correctly, Ryan, this is the way I interpret it, and I'll put it in the simplest terms I can. After the adoption of this ordinance, somebody's going to buy a 10-acre tract.
that was created after this ordinance. And 5 years later, you're going to want to cut out an acre for your son to build his first house. You got to do a traffic impact study and a drainage impact study and get permission from the council.
No, sir, that's not correct. No, sir. So if I buy 10 acres and I subdivide one lot.
No, this is a 10-acre tract
10
that
acres?
was created in a simple resub after this ordinance. It was one of 6 that was created.
Okay,
You
so
buy
it's already a subdivided.
Yep, one time.
One time.
And
So
then-
what are you
and it's-
asking?
and it- Yeah, so you bought a 10-acre tract next year that was created after this ordinance was adopted. And a few years later, you want to cut out an acre to give to your son to build a house. You can't do that without special permission from the council and doing $30,000 or $40,000 worth of studies. That's what this ordinance does.
What he's saying is when you got your 10, when you bought your 10 acres, it was originally subdivided out of a 100-acre tract. And then because that it carries over with it, and then when you go to give an acre to your child, they're going to have to cost them an extra $40,000.
So that would be a conveyance issue, and I think Scooter and I talked.
I think that's the parent tract issue. So if they had the 100 acres and they divided it into 10-acre tracts, whatever, 6, if somebody wanted to buy one of those later, it becomes the 7th one, and they would have to build a subdivision with improvement.
And do a trap? Yeah,
I mean, look.
Just,
Without a waiver, Ryan, and we talked about
I mean, look.
All right.
Okay.
There's several different ways this ordinance can go, guys. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to screw a developer. I'm not trying to screw the people of our parish, okay?
No, and I agree with what some people said, and we do this for a living. Some people try to take advantage of the minor resub, and all I would encourage you guys to do is try to come up with a better way to discourage it or prevent it if you can, but don't adversely affect every resident of Livingston Parish, because that's what this will do, I promise you.
And this is something that me and the attorneys can get with, or me and the planning department to make it more better. But I think as of right now, we really just need to put something in place just to have on the books. I agree with you.
All I'm saying is,
and I agree with Lonnie.
Consider what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah.
You've already spoke. You got it. No, I haven't closed it yet. I'll give you 1 second.
I want to clarify, I'm not.
Your time's elapsed. I'm sorry.
I'm not against fixing this because I do think there's a loophole. I'm against how it's currently written because I think there's some issues that we could do better. So I want to clarify that I commend y'all for working on it. I just think it's too early and we should table it or give it a little more time. That's all I'm saying. So, all right.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Watts, I stopped you, so you're first. I'm going to close public comment.
It's basically back to what Eddie and Jeremy is saying. Once you get that 7th lot, if I'm reading this right, subdivision of the parent tract beyond the original 6 lots as approved by the parish shall require the construction of streets to parish construction standards. So you're talking about a chunk of money. If you've got a 100-acre tract and you've got the back part of a 10-acre piece, it's going to cost you $300,000 if it's a mile deep plus. It's a lot of things in here that's big landowners is really affecting heavy, and investments for their children, investments for the grandchildren. I mean, I agree what you're trying to do, but I just think it needs to be really fine-tuned.
And we can make those changes. I'm with you to make them. I'll sit with you any day, and let's look at it.
All right.
I'm all for that.
Is that all you need, Councilman Watts? You're done? All right, Councilman Wascom.
Real quick, again, appreciate all of your hard work on this, Ron. I think this is a perfect example to get community involved and send this to an ordinance committee, get Mr. Idell, both Mr. Idells, to show up and anyone else to let's write this ordinance where everybody can come together. So I'd like to make a substitute motion to send this to the ordinance committee, and I'll commit to be there as well till we get this ordinance passed.
All right,
So,
we have
yeah,
a
I'll
substitute
make that
motion to move this back to the ordinance committee.
Guys, you hold on a second.
Hold it,
You
sir.
just-
We got a motion. We need to get is there a second?
John.
Got a second by Councilman Wascom. I mean, not Councilman Wascom, Councilman Watts. And so we have to vote on that first before we go any further. Got a second? All right. Vote on your iPad. That passed to go back to the ordinance committee meeting. So the nays were Councilwoman Sandiford, Councilman Shavers, Councilman Goff, and Councilman Coates. All right. Introduction of an ordinance to amend Chapter 130, Telecommunications, Section 131, Regulation of Telecommunications Tower, Dean Coates.
All right, we had a issue that came up at the last meeting. I think this was the meeting before that, actually. And I asked Mr. Irvin and Mr. Matty to come up with an ordinance, and they came up with an ordinance to help facilitate some of these monopole towers and these guide wire towers. And Mr. Irvin, would you like to come? I know you probably speak a little bit more intelligently on this than I could. This is
number 17. This is telecommunications.
I'll try not to tell you how to design a watch. I'll tell you what time it is. But
Mr.
we
Irvin,
heard a lot of.
Can I hold you 1 second? Mrs. Sandy, will you read it by title?
Yes, this will be proposed ordinance 25-20. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 130 Telecommunications by amending Section 130-1 Regulation of Telecommunication Towers of the Code of Ordinances for the Parish of Livingston, and the public hearing will be held on September 11th at 6 p.m.
All right, Mr. Irvin.
Okay. And of course, the last time this came up, just a few days later, the cell company sued the parish, which is for one. So we're trying to solve that problem. The federal law preempts certain things about cell towers, but it's very specific. Our claims about RF exposure are totally preempted by federal law. Claims about what happens to somebody the tower falls on are totally yours to legislate about. The other thing that federal law says is you can't discriminate between carriers, and there is a procedure if you deny one of them their permit that you have to have a written reason for denial, a detailed written reason and a record, and it makes you like a judge or an administrative body. What I tried to do with this is get the council out of the waiver business so that we've got a defined statutory provision, and this is what you got to do if you want to get out from under the tower fall requirements of the height of the tower plus 30 feet. And what you got to do is, you can't do it if the surrounding piece of property is residential or commercial, because what that does is take the property out of commerce. The guy who could be where the tower falls takes his property out of commerce. In all other circumstances, if the tower meets these engineering requirements that are set out in here, and these are very detailed engineering requirements, but they all are straight out of engineering terms and conditions for towers. If they meet that, they can get a waiver of the tower fall requirement if they go to that surrounding property owner and get a statement in writing that it's okay they'll take the risk of the tower falling on their property. And I set out a detailed procedure in here, but the total function of this is to get the council out of the waiver business for towers and make it concrete, and this is how it gets done.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt or introduce, I'm sorry, LP ordinance 25. I don't have the second number on here.
So you got a motion to introduce?
Yes.
All right, got a second from Councilman Mangus, and Councilman Mangus has something, request to speak.
Yeah, I just wanted to say is after the executive session and all that where nothing was decided with the cell tower deal, I did a deep dive into these towers and Zero Fall and on YouTube. That is really scary. They have some of them that the big high transmission ones, they roll up like it's amazing. They roll up like a sardine can, how you roll them back. So if you get an engineer who can certify that that's what they do, I feel a lot better about it. And this, one of the videos, had the juxtaposition of the towers that are like the guy wires, the non-zero fall, and they have to remove some of those for various reasons. Those are way different if those guy wires collapse. And so the monopoles and zero falls, it was very interesting. Okay, so thank you.
All right. Does anybody want to speak for or against? Nope. All right, so we're going to... Yep, got a question, Councilman Watts.
Mr. Steve, in no way, shape, or form are we trying to overstep the engineering of the cell tower engineers, whether it be AT&T or Verizon or whoever, This ordinance is not overstepping that boundary, is it?
No, sir. What I did was, and there was some engineering requirements that are in our existing ordinance. I used those. I used the latest version of those. There also are some other requirements that can be out there in terms of defining the return frequency. Like we have 100-year floods. Well, for towers, it's more like a once every 700 year or once every 1400 year restriction. And so I went with the once every 700 year, which is a standard tower specification that is used. And the object of that is to get it to the point where the risk of the tower falling will be somewhere past the point where all the structures around the tower are blown away by the wind.
I just want to make sure that we're not setting the engineer standard on this deal, because it becomes our responsibility then. We don't want that. That's all.
And this is straight.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. If nobody else has any questions, vote on your iPad. We're voting to for the introduction. All right, that passed unanimous. All right. Number 18, adopt a resolution for hardship waiver of section 125, 137, prohibits and restrictions of use for Asa Faulkner for a mobile home to be placed on the property with electrical services located at 8562 Beechwood Drive, Denham Springs, Louisiana 70706, Beechwood Drive subdivision. This is in my district. I got a call a couple of months ago from Mr. Faulkner to get this put on the waiver list. He then had some kind of a surgery, so I had to remove it. Talked to him again about 2 weeks ago, and he said that he was ready to come back, so I hope that he's feeling well. But Mr. Steve Irving had something to say about this first.
This is a provision under that waiver statute or ordinance that we just talked about. This one would be under not the blanket waiver for the subdivision one, but the provision that's next above it that allows an individual waiver. I think the council's practice has been, and I think there may even be a resolution on this, that these be, if these are granted, they're granted for a specific window in time. In other words, it's not blanket, it's for 2 years or 18 months or whatever. And at the conclusion of that, the waiver would go away. That's the idea.
All right, so for this waiver, it would have to make a motion to grant this waiver with a sunset clause after this time or date or this event happens.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we do have cards for this. Thank you.
Carla Morris.
Carla Morris, 8645 Linkwood Drive. I emailed you all today with a packet of some information that I was going to provide. Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. I emailed you with some information that I was going to be providing for y'all today, so that you would have it ahead of time and could review it. Can I hand this packet out for y'all? Or do you? Thank you. So my question is a hardship. Where do we have a actual definition for a hardship in this parish? What qualifications do we have? What are our requirements for a hardship? Do we have any? Because I can't find them. I have asked for parish council and I've asked for planning if they had any definition for hardship. I don't know how this can be a hardship when the lady that is moving into this trailer put her house on the market in August of 2024. She actually sold her house in March of 2025, moved into the residence in which she is living in, and then they moved a mobile home on it on June the 9th. On June the 9th, June the 6th. On June the 9th, compliance was called about this mobile home being in our neighborhood. Compliance, I am being told, came out there. I was told that I needed to speak to someone by the name of Scooter King. Spoke to him and spoke to Mr. Billy Taylor about this trailer being there. I don't know why compliance did not continue on with this complaint, but I am under the impression they have done something about it now. The fact is this man has continued to fix this, do the work on this trailer. They have already anchored, put the anchors on it. They've put it up. They put the ramp on it. They put the AC units. I have done a public records request, and there is not a application, no permits that have been applied for on this mobile home. So at this point in time, I don't see how this is a hardship. I believe this is a forgiveness waiver. If we forgive this, then we set precedent for any and all work being done and then handing out a waiver. Also, we were talking about AT&T. Is it okay for them to go put up their towers and then come ask you for a waiver? No, y'all aren't going to allow that. But you're going to allow somebody to do the work and then give them a waiver. It is my understanding that this lady is in good health. You want to put a mobile home in a known, not even a known subdivision, in a subdivision with custom-built homes. And these are large lot areas. And when you put this mobile home in here, you don't know, I'm being told that it could be her last living home. But how long is this going to sit in our neighborhood? And when you put this in our neighborhood, and as of right now, 125, 137 states that I have to be put on a waiver list, and you can put a mobile home anywhere in my neighborhood. When I purchased,
your time has elapsed. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds, okay?
when I purchased this property, knowing I had restrictions and I couldn't put mobile homes there. In 2005, the Faulkners actually signed an amendment on their restrictions stating that they didn't want any mobile homes in our subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bordelon?
Good evening. My name is Adrienne Bordelon. I live at 8489 Beechwood Drive, and I am a resident of Beechwood Ridge subdivision. And I am here in opposition of you granting Mr. Faulkner a waiver of the mobile home on his property. He is asking for this waiver under section 125, 137. However, that provision does not apply in this situation. So let's talk about what that provision actually says. It says, it shall be unlawful for a person to reside in or use as a resident or to rent out another person a mobile or manufactured home in an established dedicated named subdivision accepted by the parish previously for the intent of on-site custom-built single-family dwelling homes. Now, while there are the ability to grant some exceptions, those exceptions do not apply here. As Carla said, our neighborhood has building restrictions. And the exceptions that you are talking about are designed for someone who has a vacant lot in a custom-built neighborhood. And that is not what we have here. What Mr. Faulkner is asking for is to place a secondary dwelling on his primary dwelling. He's actually asking for a waiver of the R1 designation in our neighborhood, which you cannot grant because you're violating the due process rights of our neighbors and other interested parties if you do not send that back to the Zoning and the Planning Commission. And when there's a conflict in the ordinances between the Land Development Code of a specific requirement or a general requirement, the specific requirement must comply or must prevail. And Mr. Faulkner has a legal remedy of an ADU, provided it is 800 square feet or smaller, maintaining the character and the property of the home. A painted mobile home of the same color in the primary dwelling is like putting lipstick on a pig. It's aesthetics. It's not maintaining the character of the property of our neighborhood or his own home. And if a mobile home did meet the definition of an ADU, we would not be here today. What you're actually trying to do and what he's asking you to do is called spot zoning. And the Louisiana Supreme Court has said rezoning on a piecemeal or spot basis is highly suspect. It goes on to state that a city purporting to act under its police powers cannot create in a large area of property zoned in one class an island on a parcel of land regulated to another zoning classification without a rational reason. To do so is arbitrary and capricious. Granting this waiver is ultra vires, and it may subject you to litigation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Good evening. I'm Scott Smith. I live at 8271 Beechwood Drive in Beechwood Ridge subdivision. And I'm here to speak against granting this hardship waiver. Really just one thing I wanted to point out, and that is the sewerage aspect. There are numerous, the Louisiana Administrative Code Title 51 specifies that the sewer treatment equipment has to be sized to the number of occupants or rooms in the house or expected usage. This is adding another dwelling and presumably tying into that existing sewer system, which maybe it's sufficient to handle that additional load, maybe it's not. I don't know. No one has said this. You know, there are also Section 717 and 723 require that effluent meets strict limits for biochemical oxygen demand and total suspended solids. Overloaded systems are likely, much more likely, to exceed these limits, contaminate all the drainage ditches and streams. You know, we're right by Beaver Creek, and possibly groundwater. There's also requirements about the minimum distances between sewerage systems, property lines, and water sources. So that's another aspect to take into account and consider and ensure compliance with. The systems have to be maintained in working order per Section 725. Doubling the load accelerates wear, increases maintenance needs, and raises the likelihood of failure. And these things are all things that threaten public health. So 100% agree with what the previous two speakers had to say. I think it's inappropriate for our subdivision. And I've never met the man, Mr. Faulkner. I have nothing against him. This really just compliance with what's in place in the law and what's appropriate for a subdivision like ours. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak for or against?
Well, he can finally meet the man. So Asa Faulkner, 8562 Beechwood Drive. You know, this has been one of the hardest things I've had to deal with in the last month, I guess. I live in zone subdivision R1, which allows for ADU. The park home, the granny pod, as we call it, is 600 square feet, less than 600 square feet, actually. Does not look like a trailer, has a pointed roof, has a porch on the front of it, and an 8-foot wooding fence blocking it for anybody's view that wants to see it. If you've had a chance to drive through my neighborhood, you would notice that. It's not the only ADU in the subdivision. There are others that have been there. I listened to what happened earlier in the meeting, and that's where we're at. I'm zoned R1. I looked on your website. It says you can have an ADU under 800 square feet. I have an 87-year-old mother-in-law. She has a brand new great-grandson. I was raised to take care of you, elder. And she does not want to lose her independence. She does not want to live with us in the house. She wants her own independence. What type of health is she in is nobody's business. I hope she lives forever, but she's not. She's 87. So I did go to the permit office. I have been to the permit office. I tried to do everything the way we're supposed to do it. They couldn't issue me a permit. Because why? You got an ordinance that conflicts with the zoning. You got a mess. Y'all don't know the answer to it. I don't either. How am I supposed to know? I'm a citizen. I don't know. I'm just trying to do the right thing for my 87-year-old mother-in-law. So waivers, what I told, I had to come ask for a hardship waiver. So I'm here. I'm asking for a hardship waiver. I don't know why it's become personal. I have no idea. But it has. It's become personal in my neighborhood. Believe me, this is a personal attack. It's been a personal attack since day one. There's been video taken on my property. There's been mailboxes stuff, which is a federal crime. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm dealing with it. I really can't. I cannot believe it. So I'm here asking for the hardship waiver, and it's up to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's William Bartlett. I'm a resident of Beechwood Ridge also. I'm going to cover, y'all are just considering a sunset clause. Who enforces that clause? my dad's 91. I mean, he could live for another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. So if y'all were to grant it, who would verify that when the lady passes away that they're going to move it? How does that even, begin to work? I've seen in other neighborhoods after the flood, there was mobile homes or trailers put in that they were like, oh, as soon as this is cleaned up, they're gone. They're still there. I mean, nothing against the zoning folks, but I don't think they have the ability to enforce a sunset clause. Once it's put in, it's going to be permanent. It's going to bring down our property values and multiple issues. And you have you have site-built homes, you have modular homes, and you have manufactured homes. The granny pod falls as a manufactured home, which is in the same regulations as mobile home. So it is considered a mobile home. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
John Peralta, 33543 Hickory Lane, Beechwood Ridge. In 2020, I was managing a trailer park on Arnold Road, and one of the things I promised my wife was to move into a subdivision that didn't have trailers. And we found a spot in Beechwood Ridge, Tract A. Love the neighborhood, beautiful. Never met Asa. I don't know anything about what's going on. I'm just thinking about what I promised my wife. Honestly, this passes, y'all probably see me next year with a couple trailers on my lot. Go.
Is there anybody else?
Netta Amy, I live at 32820 Poplar Court in Beechwood Ridge subdivision. I wasn't really planning on speaking tonight. Never met Mr. Asa before in my life. I know where his house is. I drive a school bus in there. Used to. I'm retired now. But I have in my home, my daughter and her 2 children moved home with me. It'll be 2 years this Thanksgiving. My mother was diagnosed with dementia in January. To move her in with me 2 weeks ago. So I don't think it takes a hardship waiver to help take care of your parents. Right? Correct. We are supposed to care for children. We are supposed to. But it doesn't mean at the expense of my property also. And I'd like to think.
All right.
My name is Scott Bertree, resident of Baton Rouge, Beechwood Ridge subdivision, Beechwood Drive. I moved in, it was a single family dwelling, and that's why we bought in that place, and I've been there for 25 years. And I believe it still needs the same stay as a single family dwelling, because if not, property values will go down, because trailers will bring the amount of we get for the homes in there. And they will devalue the home.
Thank you. All right, if there's no one else, we're going to close public comment. Public comment is closed. All right, Councilman Chambers.
Yeah, I just have a question just for clarification and to help me better understand the situation. What law are they asking us to waive?
It is the trailer and a name subdivision.
So
Ma'am.
So they're asking for us to waive the law that allows mobile homes in a named subdivision. So I'm looking at pictures here. The mobile home is on the property. So did somebody already give him permission to put it on the property, or how did that situation happen? Because normally when you ask for a waiver, you get granted the waiver and then you proceed with the installation of a mobile home.
So I don't have that answer. I started getting phone calls that it was already moved in whenever, I forgot her name, said that she called compliance and then called me. And I called compliance about it, and then received multiple emails, multiple phone calls, then ended up talking with Mr. Faulkner. Mr. Faulkner said that he went to, or in between multiple phone calls and emails, right after I talked to the lady, Mr. Faulkner called me and said that he's going to need a waiver. He moved a trailer in, or a AUD or mother-in-law suite, whatever it is, to his property. He was going to need a hardship waiver to him to get power to this. Look, just today I found out that my wife's grandmother has to go into a nursing home and it's expensive. So, I mean, they're asking for a waiver to move his 87 mother-in-law into the property.
So and that may be a question that maybe Mr. Asa can answer. If you want to come answer the question, or if you don't feel compelled to, just who I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in a little bit of research on you, are you in real estate? Do you do real estate? No. Okay. So who told you to?
No one gave me permission. I went to your website. I'm R1 zone, which allows ADUs under 800 square feet. That's what this thing is. It's under 800 square feet. It's under 600 square feet, to be exact. So I checked with the permit office. That's where we ran into a snafu because of the ordinance about mobile home, and we were already in the process of moving the thing in and hooking it up. So the granny pod, mobile home, whatever you want to call it, was already in the process of being hooked up on the property because it fit in the R1 zoning. So and you know, if you got a chance to, and I don't know that you did, get a chance to ride my subdivision, you will see there are multiple structures in that subdivision. Multiple standing structures that people could be living in, not living in, they are living in. I'm telling you. There's people in this room right here
We're not talking about other people's structures. We're talking about yours.
To answer your question, it's on my property, it's hooked up, it's behind an 8-foot fence, and it's there because R1 allows for ADUs to be on your property. How was I to know any different?
So, I'm just asking because I want to understand the story. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah,
so let me ask you this.
And I'm sorry, and just so you understand, some of the things said tonight, there is no HOA. Does not exist. In 2005, I live in Beechwood Ridge, what do you call it, 3. Beechwood Ridge 3.
Filing 3?
Yeah, filing 3, I'm sorry, thank you. In 2005, there was a HOA put in place. And we were members of the HOA in 2005. And we also had it disbanded in 2015. There is no more HOA. There is nobody to go to subdivision-wise.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, and again, this is just so I can understand the story. So I understand how this happened. Mm-hmm. So, the normal process, to my understanding, is you go to the council for a waiver, or the planning department will tell you, hey, you got to go to the council for a waiver. You get granted your waiver because you're having to waive one of our laws. Okay, it's a variance, essentially. So then at that point, you go to the planning department, hey, I got my variance. Planning department tells you, okay, you need this permit, this permit, this permit, and then you get your permits, you put your mobile home on your property, you get your utilities hooked up, and you're good to go. Tell me at what point in the process, with going to the planning department and asking what you need, where was the breakage?
I asked multiple people in this parish.
Who specifically?
Who?
Yes.
Scooter King and I have had many conversations about how to get a permit for this.
And he did not tell you, and I'm just trying to understand.
It's not about that. It's not about that. The original concept here, was to build a standalone, was getting ready to pour concrete to build a standalone building on the side of my house for my mother-in-law to live in. That was the original concept, okay? Then I was told by the parish that you guys pass an ordinance that make sure whatever you do, you're 2.5 feet above the flood table, right? Which on my property is how much, Scooter? 58 inches. 58 inches off the ground, okay? 58 inches off the ground. So to build a permanent structure, I'd have to build it I'd have to bring in dirt, which is illegal, I can't do. 58 inches off the ground. Flood my house and my neighbor's house, who's not here tonight, and he's written a letter and give it to you, he has no problem, doesn't matter, whatever. Doesn't matter. So to build a permanent structure, got to build it 58 inches up, bring in the dirt, can't do it, flood everybody. The thought process was, hey, let's bring in something temporary that we can get out of here when we don't need it anymore. How do you enforce it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I don't want it on my property. I'll get it off when she's gone.
No, I
just need a
understand
place
that,
for it to
and I
live.
believe you in saying that.
So if I put it 58 inches off the ground on these pylons, Scooter King can attest to it. When he was a councilman, he had to come out to my house. If I get a normal rainstorm on my property, and all these people sitting in the back can attest to it, or they lying, they drive by my property, it's like a parade coming by because of the amount of water that stands in my yard. Right, I'm the drain for the subdivision.
I'm with
so
you.
you have to have something that the water can go underneath. So the tiny home was the best solution, believe it or not. So that I don't flood my neighbor or me.
I don't disagree with what you're doing. But let me. Here's what I'm trying to do now. Just hear me out. Again, I don't want to, in the middle of a council meeting, try to stop you from taking care of your mother-in-law by any means. I just want to understand how this happened and who is responsible for not telling you the process of how this worked. But hold on. But let me ask my question. So you were given permission to nobody gave you permission to put your mobile home. You just did it.
I did.
Okay. So when you went to the planning department or whoever, you spoke to someone and they didn't say you need a permit for this, you need a permit for that before you pulled it on there.
It was already there. I already put it there.
But how long ago?
It's been there. This started 3 months ago, maybe.
Okay, so 3 months ago. So 3 months ago, you had to go to the planning department to, obviously you had to ask questions, right? I mean,
No.
you got to have permits to hook up utilities. I mean,
I hooked everything up.
so
I hooked everything up, just like everybody else in my neighborhood's hooked everything up. Just like we've done in that neighborhood since I've lived there.
So you didn't have to have a permit for Demco or any of that from the planning department?
No.
Really?
No.
How are you getting electricity?
I hooked the electricity up. We
But
hooked the electricity up.
Are you connecting it to your
It is
existing dwelling?
It's connected to my electricity box, yes. As a ADU happens all the time. The whole neighborhood's connected like that. I invite you to ride through there. I invite you to see the ADUs that are already there, hooked up with people that people live in the subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention every other restriction in the neighborhood.
Let me ask Miss Dee Dee something, please.
Sure.
Or maybe she can clarify.
So let me clarify. He looked, gathering from, first time I've ever met him, never talked to him. What I'm gathering, he's trying to tell y'all and then verifying what happened in our office. He went online, saw his zoning was R1, and it allowed for an ADU. When he came into the office to get the permits, it was already there. That was when our office told him, we cannot permit you, but yes, the zoning matches. However, you're in a named subdivision and there's that extra ordinance that does not allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to get a waiver from the council to be able to get permits to occupy that structure. That's where we are today.
Gotcha.
So it was no breakdown on our part or not him either.
So the problem is this 650 square feet, and somebody please do the math on how small that is in the ordinance, and Ms. Dee Dee and them's problem is it's defined in the structure when it's built, even though it's built with the wind load and everything, it's built and has a definition of a mobile home. But if you look in these pictures, there's no axles, there's no tongue, there's blocked up. It sounds like most everything's being done as best as possibly can, not to flood the neighbor. Small, it's not like it's a 12 by 65 or a 14 by 80. It's a 650 granny pot or whatever. the heck
It
you
is a
call it.
mobile home, though.
And that's the problem because of this particular ordinance. So that's why, in my personal opinion, they should just issue the
And
permit. for-
ADUs and mobile homes are allowed in R1. I mean, they specified in there.
ADU is allowed in there.
Correct.
But then you have a conflicting ordinance that says no mobile homes are allowed. And by definition, with the tag on this thing, even though it's HUD approved, it's a mobile home. So then
Well,
you
let me
have-
ask you this: Are there
Hold on,
ADUs
hold
without?
on, hold
Are there
on, hold
ADUs
on.
without axles
Hold
and
on,
tires?
Hold on. So you
Councilman
have a
Shavers.
problem with them.
Let him speak first.
You have a problem between them that they can't give him anything because they can't give him a permit for the structure as an ADU because the structure by definition is a mobile home, and then their ordinance that they
Because
got
it
to
has a
follow
HUD
says
stamp.
no mobile homes in a named subdivision. And then this man says he don't need power, he's got it plugged in, and he don't want to flood his neighbor. And these pictures doesn't show no fence, but apparently there's a fence, and I have not been by there. So
Okay, all right, and now Councilman
I
Shavers
say-
got a question for you.
I say we issue a building permit and let it go.
You don't have a question for him?
I'm just trying to understand how the mobile home got there, and it doesn't have a waiver or a permit.
He moved, he went into the ordinances where he looked into R1. He saw that this could be moved in on his property. He went ahead, pulled the trigger, bought it, put it in, went to them to get a permit to
Get the power.
To get the
permits,
power-
it set up yes.
to get it powered, and was, hey, you live in a named subdivision, you've got to have a waiver for this to be in here. So, and if you know going through the waivers, or not the waivers, going through the ordinances, R1 states this, but if you go to restrictions, it's a totally different area.
And for the record, there are ADUs that you can build on site that are not mobile homes.
Okay.
So I'm done with that.
All right,
And I do
Councilman
want
Mangus.
to just tell y'all one other thing. There are many cases where people will purchase manufactured homes, set it up and come to us after the fact. And we've tried to make measures with contacting mobile home companies to tell them maybe require a building permit first before you move the mobile home's owned. But if it is a pre-owned mobile home and it's individual movers getting it moved up, there's no way to police it. So he's not the first that this has ever happened to. It has happened before by no fault of anybody. It's just something that happens.
This is another one that we need to address
Thank you.
rapidly about an ADU and define an ADU as no mobile home whatsoever.
Councilman Mangus.
Mr. Irvin, or Mr. Marty, you got a minute? Do we need to write an ADU ordinance?
Can we write an ADU ordinance?
Do we need to?
There,
A better one than 12537?
certainly a better one. I think there is some reference to there being more detail, and the detail is not there. So the answer to that question is yes, that is one of the holes in the development code that needs to be addressed, and we've actually discussed that.
Because from what I understand is everybody who tries to put up, air quotes, mobile home on their property, they need a second address to get electricity. So this particular one, Demco or Energy, right, must have decided it wasn't a mobile home. Because if they've, Mr. Asa, do you have?
No, he hooked it up to his, he hooked it up to his house.
So it's not, doesn't have a weatherhead or anything? It's just plain?
It's, yeah, I think that's the way it's being
Okay.
treated, is
Okay.
that he hooked it up to his own meter panel, and he had the breakers in it to do it.
Okay, but you don't need permits or anything for
You would
electricity?
You would need an electrical permit for that, for sure. You
Yeah.
would need a plumbing permit for the sewage disposal and the water.
I mean, I had to have an electrician to do our generator. That's,
Sure.
okay.
All right. Councilman Coates?
Yeah, I'd just like to say one thing, because there's been a lot of talk about these ADUs, and did a little research on it, and basically the primary difference between an ADU and a mobile home or trailer is that, number one, it's an on-site built construction, and number two, it's on a foundation, a permanent foundation. It's not mobile. So I don't think that this would qualify as an ADU in its current setup. That's all that.
All right. Is there anybody else? All right. Mr. Erdy.
Where's Mr. Faulkner at?
Mr. Faulkner,
Please.
you're being asked to come up back to the podium.
Yes.
I'm not an engineer
Well,
or councilman.
I'll go as fast as I can here. I mean, maybe
Okay.
I'm old-fashioned, but
Yep.
my way of learning this process and seeing this process is that you go get all your paperwork done first before you move anything on your property for home construction type stuff. I'm trying to figure out how you that got there first, and then the permit asking came second.
There's only one definition of ADU that you can look up online from you guys, and that's 800 or less square feet. I mean, it's in writing. I mean, that's the only definition of an ADU on your website is less than 800 square feet, which this is way less than 800 square feet. People hook up things on their property all the time. I think that's what the permit officer is trying to tell you. My whole neighborhood, if you've had a chance to go out there, has auxiliary dwellings all over it hooked up, not permitted. I can pull the addresses on every one of them. They're not permitted. They never got permits. They still don't have permits till this day. Some of the people sitting in this room griping about my thing don't have permits. So it can happen. It does happen all the time. It happens. I hooked it up, then realized from the permit office, from the ordinance committee, hey, you got to get a waiver for the thing. I mean, it's already there. So then they said, hey, you got to go to council and get a waiver for it.
I understand the asking of the necessary
Okay.
why you're asking for it. I'm just kind of taken back with the fact that things were done without all the permits, because everybody gets turned down every day because they don't have it right yet, you know. Or either they get accepted because they got it right,
Right.
you know, with the permits.
I couldn't get the permit.
Yeah.
Because of that ordinance of no mobile home in a named subdivision, but yet R1 allows for an ADU, which is what I was attempting to do.
Yeah.
And there's already precedence. There's already ADU in my neighborhood that's hooked up to the house, not got its own electricity, not got it. I mean, there's already one there. There's one there already in the neighborhood. So
I've never been there. I don't know.
I know. I wish you'd have got a chance to come by. Yeah. And there is a fence. There is an 8-foot fence in front of it now, Mr. Golf, and you can see even less of it. So, anyway.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Erdy.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sanford. That's going to be the last one.
To respond to you, Mr. Faulkner, we are trying to straighten things up and make things kosher and lawful, law and order in Livingston Parish. We're not talking about your neighbors. We're taking it case by case. We're asking you. You heard the waiver discussion earlier. We have got some serious waiver issues in this parish. It is going across district lines now. It's out of control, in my opinion, and that is why I brought earlier to the agenda to remove mobile homes from the waiver list. Now, tonight, I've heard you call it an ADU, and I've heard you call it a mobile home. So which is it?
I've only called it a mobile home because that's what Billy put on the agenda. It's an ADU. It's intended to be an ADU. 600 square feet, it doesn't even look like a mobile home.
Okay, so if this...
The only thing that makes it a mobile home is the HUD sticker that's on
If you're going to speak, I'm going to need you to come to the podium.
The only thing that makes it a mobile home is the HUD sticker on it. And I would tell you, I'd be willing to bet you that building is built better than most ADUs are built because of the HUD sticker. It has you know it's got good plumbing, you know it can withstand wind. I mean, that ordinance that says You can't have a mobile home in a subdivision, but yet R1 is in conflict
But
of
you
each
live
other.
in a named
You-
subdivision.
I know
You
I
have
live in a na-
neighbors, and it will affect their
No, it
property
will not.
value.
No, it will not. I will tell you this. I will tell you this. If their property value, I can promise you, you have never been to my neighborhood.
I have. I was in
You
your
rode through
neighborhood
it?
this morning.
If anybody in that neighborhood, either one of these people want to sell their house, I can promise you my house will be
Okay,
a comp.
but
My house will
I'm
be a comp
talking-
in that neighborhood because it is not, if you rode through my neighborhood and saw what affected the property value in my neighborhood with the political signs on the trees and all that
sir.
BS, come on. You ain't never been
Hey,
to
sir,
my
I'm
subdivision.
gonna need you to calm down, please.
I deal with the waivers a lot in my district and parish-wide. And to add, if this were to pass tonight, in the morning, 15 of your neighbors could go apply for a mobile home permit. If that would have yeah, they can go because you're going to go on the mobile home waiver list. So they can, it just opens the door.
So you can,
So
you could,
that's all I
you-
have to say. I'm
you could
not-
do a motion and not put it on the automatic waiver list as well.
I'm not trying to upset you. I'm trying to be lawful here and go by the ordinances, and you didn't.
Sir, if you're gonna speak, I'm gonna need you to come to the podium. All right, then.
Mr. Chairman, can we call the question?
Yeah, all right, Mr. Faulkner, we're gonna call the question.
She can't say that to me and then I can't respond. That's ridiculous.
All right,
I mean, is it not? I'm asking.
I'm
Is it not?
gonna let him say what he needs to say, and then we're
There
gonna
are
call the
more
question.
than ordinances that govern this thing. There's zoning. You can't just pick an ordinance. There's zoning.
Zoning is an ordinance.
Huh? I know, zoning overrules the ordinance, and the zoning says I can have it. R1, that's what you gotta read. Yeah, oh, yes, it does.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Read it.
Thank you. All right, yes, Councilman Mangus.
Okay, the question I have is, if we do consider granting a hardship waiver, what are the stipulations of that? To answer the question earlier, who enforces that? That is compliance. Anecdotally, I can tell you that I have granted through this council 2 hardship waivers. Maybe Ms. Delat can back me up on this. Both of those quit before their time period. So they're done. They had to get light poles and all of that. One was for a trailer, RV for a mother that was passing away. All right, so if we're going to do that, we need to know exactly how long, because I do understand what the neighbors are saying is they don't want a mobile home or whatever there for extended period. So what are those parameters? If we're going to vote on a hardship waiver, what are the...
So,
Yeah, but it's a hardship waiver. What do we vote on then?
I'll make the motion.
It would be appropriate, it'd be appropriate to do it for 18 months, 2 years, and then have it revisited. So whatever happens with this nice lady, if she lives 10 more years, then you revisit it 5 times. So just force them to come back after the period of time that it's about to expire and present to the council whatever the facts are, and you consider extending it. That would be the most appropriate thing, if you're going to grant it.
and your office will track that. Okay. Okay.
Why doesn't it need a second address if it's...
It doesn't, it needs a
Because the
power pole.
ADUs don't, is that...
All right, so Councilman Goff, you said you had a motion?
I'd like to make the motion that we grant the hardship waiver for the 2-year time frame for it to come back. Two multiple reasons for this. One, the 2-year time frame stays within this administration, and then that way it falls on this administration to follow up on it, and I know that they will do that. Number 2, I believe 100% that we don't need all that fill dirt and all that on there. And this is not a 14 by 80 or 16 by 80 mobile home. And it is a waiver that's specific to that particular piece of property. and it's not a permanent structure at that point. There is no good answer. We're not going to make everybody happy. We're just going to do the best that we can, and from my standpoint, that is my motion.
And it doesn't go on the automatic mobile home waiver list?
No,
You need to put that in your motion.
I don't think we need that. It's a hardship case, so. It's,
Can we make a caveat to that if for some reason, unfortunately, the lady passes away, that
It's moved in within 60 days.
60 days, it's
Yes.
got to be done, moved off the property?
yes.
Mr. Chairman.
So that's, I've got a
I'll make that
motion
adjustment
by
to my
Councilman Goff.
Mr. Chairman, I
second?
have something to say before you take that.
Councilman Coates.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. We do have a situation, though, and that is the compliance department doesn't have the authority to force someone to remove their mobile home off the property. So we would, if we do grant this and then we put that attachment to it, the compliance department is not going to be able to do that. What we would have to do is create some enforcement mechanism, some teeth, so that the compliance office or the sheriff's office would be able to go out there and actually put some enforcement behind this particular ordinance.
Aren't they?
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Thank you.
In other words, we don't have the ability, it's not written into our ordinances to allow for what happens if someone doesn't comply.
Mr. Moody.
Councilman Mangus, I'm going to need you to
sorry.
request to speak.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Moody, compliance are deputized, right? Right. Don't they have that authority? I know some of it becomes civil, but.
Okay.
If their waiver has expired, they would be in violation of your general ordinance.
Oh, you got to push it down.
I'm sorry, push it in there. Show. There you
Now,
go.
okay. They would be in violation of your subdivision ordinance because their waiver has expired, so they could get a citation and then be subject to the general provision of violations of your subdivision ordinances. So, is it easy to do? No. And do they have the staff to do it? No. And are there violations all over the parish that aren't being enforced? Probably so, because there's just so many of them. So that is a consequence, but I would point out there's not a second to the motion yet.
Yeah, there's not a second to the motion.
One of the things you may could do, Mr. Coates was correct in my opinion, is that you can state a fine or may take another ordinance to do that. But DEMCO won't cut the electricity off. I can't go to court and make them evict anybody. All I can do is give you a summons. So that summons is not costly enough to make anybody, they can ignore that summons after a period of time, and it may be a year before I can get it in court. Then I done spent so much money doing that. If you're gonna do something like that, put a fine on it. If you say 2 years and you don't renew it in 2 years, what's to keep them from, we can never go to the judge and say, look, he's gotta take this off his property. It's not a safety hazard, that judge is gonna say, but you can have another fine, just like you do a speeding ticket or just like you do anything, and do it.
We would have to do that by ordinance.
Yes, you'd have to do it, in my opinion, by ordinance.
Yes,
You could
sir.
say $500, $1,000.
$1,000, $1,500. Councilman Erdy.
Mr. DeLatte, please, I was going to ask you almost what you asked me. What teeth does a summons have if it gets to that point? What is the teeth?
It's a $500 fine for a violation of your general ordinances. Some ordinances have specific fines. I don't think this one does.
So for $500, I would pay that fine unless you come back and say $500 per day.
Per day.
$5 after, you understand?
Does it roll over and keep going?
So that would have to go to, we'd have to bring that up in an ordinance committee meeting to address that. So we got a motion on the floor to grant a waiver. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Watts. Can I assess the fee on this ordinance?
No.
No? Okay. All right. All right.
I got one quick question. One quick question.
We didn't put any fee on it.
Yeah, we're not no fee on it, but one quick question. So if we say we take 90 days to put the ordinance in place, and we grant this waiver for 90 days, and then we come back and then we approve it, and it comes back in front of us because the waiver has ended. So then the new ordinance would be in place with the stipulations to give Mr. Rainey some teeth. Then we can renew it, and then he has to stand on a 2-year less 3 months, so a 21-month permit with the fees involved.
I really need to look at that, because now you're putting a fine after the fact for a violation that's already here. So,
No, I'm not talking, I'm talking about.
But it may also be covered by, there's some general provisions that say that a violation is every day. So you may be covered already by the $500 a day thing.
So I would like to make an amendment to my motion. Is that possible right now?
There's only a
second.
motion and a second, so you can amend if you'd like.
I would like to amend my ordinance to approve this for 90 days. Because I want you to be able to tell me.
Yeah.
I want Mr. Rainey to have teeth. I want these people to know that we're doing everything we can, and I want him to understand that we're doing what we can. We're not going to flood the neighbors, et cetera, but that thing's not going to stay. So that being said, gives you time to...
Yeah, we can do that.
To see if there's really is enough teeth, and if not, we make an ordinance, and then in 90 days, he can go back up and he can reapply for the same waiver, come to this council, and we will do what we need to do at that point. Is that... So I'd like to make my motion, everything the same except instead of 2 years, for it to be 90 days.
And will a second accept
No,
that?
not on the list. Huh?
He needs to accept that amendment.
Already accepted? All right. Vote on your iPad. The motion is to approve a hardship waiver for 90 days. So he has to come back to this council for another waiver after, and while in that time, we're going to put some kind of teeth inside this area of waivers that we have given, or variances that would make it, if you don't come back and you don't do it, there's a $500 a day fine. Wow. That'd be for the next 21 months. We don't have enough time to do that, and it'd have to be another month. But we have a motion, we have a second. Yeah. So, vote on your iPad. Mr. Yoder.
How much do we get?
All right, so we got five yeses, 3 noes, and abstain. I had to abstain because Mr. Faulkner is my appointment for the sewer board. The noes were Councilman Shavers, Councilwoman Sandiford, and Councilman Coates. What vote?
No, I have not. He got confused with the second motion.
Look, the same thing happened in his district. They put a 4th trailer on the lot, never come here for a permit. We give them a waiver to transfer the electricity from the 3rd trailer to the 4th. We give them a waiver for that.
All right, so
Well, regardless, if he wants to reconsider.
Councilman Erdy has requested to reconsider his vote. So we're going to need to do this
You
over
already
again.
announced the result, and
Say that again?
he voted in the affirmative?
Yes.
Yeah. And now he wants to change his vote and then reconsider the motion?
Yes, sir.
You've already announced the result?
I already announced the results.
Well, he can do a motion to reconsider if he was on the other side and to re-vote. But the motion to reconsider would have to pass, and then you re-vote. Does that make sense?
All right, so we have to have a motion. I need you to turn on your microphone and make that motion.
I'd like to make the motion to reconsider on my voting.
All right.
I'll second that.
Got a second by Councilman Coates. On agenda item 18, right? All right.
So this motion is just of whether or not you have another vote.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, two noes, Councilman Mangus and Councilman Watts, and I had to abstain because of the previous statement.
So now it'd be appropriate to revote on the original motion.
So we have to state that motion again, do we not?
Well, I think she has your motion.
All right, she has the motion,
Mr. Goff's
so-
motion can be revoted on at this point.
Okay.
So clarity is the motion is to grant the waiver for 90 days. Yeah. That's my motion. I don't know if you're going to use the same.
All right, so that motion failed.
Fails.
4 yeses, 3 noes, and 4 noes and abstain. Councilman Shavers voted no. Councilwoman Sanford voted no. Councilman Erdy voted no, and Councilman Coates voted no. The yeses were Councilman Wascom, Councilman Watts, Councilman Mangus, Councilman Goff. I abstain. Moving to the next item.
Joe, I want to know what's going to happen in 2 weeks when you come ask for those 2 freaking hardship waivers you need.
Sir, that is not appropriate, please.
What did he say? Same thing.
All right. Number 19, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed private servitude Sweet Clover Lane for 911 purposes located off of Highway 42, Council District 8, Councilman Coates.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Coates?
Yes. Number 19, all right, so it's a private lane, and they want to name it Sweet Clover Lane, just like it said, and it's for 911 purposes, nothing more. Make a motion for that, please.
Got a motion, got a second by
I'll second it.
Councilman Shavers. Vote on your iPad.
Mr. Joe.
All right. Adopt a resolution to take Peaceful Acres Lane in Peaceful Acres Lane in Councilman District 9 out of the parish maintenance systems. Councilman Erdy.
Yes, the people on that lane that live there would like to request being pulled from the parish maintenance, and I think I can check with Caroline, but they did all their paperwork and filled
All right.
that out.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it is, but
Mr. President.
I would really
Yeah.
like Robert to come up and explain what.
Hold up a second. Sir, Mr. Moody?
Yeah. All right, so I'm not sure that's the correct motion. If you want to abandon the parish public road, so it would then revert back to the ownership of the adjacent owners and they take full responsibility of the road. Is that what you want to do, or just withdraw maintenance?
Well, they want it. Y'all
'Cause-
come up and speak, please.
Well, I'm saying, because if
I want to
that's
make
what...
sure, let's make sure we get it right.
All right.
Let's make sure we get it right.
That one? Okay. It's okay. Now I'm okay? Okay, I live at 31168 Peaceful Acres Lane. That is actually, it's the whole family lives down there. The mother-in-law lives on one corner, I live on the other one. The grandson lives back there, so it's only 3 people. And they have us on the list, but we maintain it. And we would like to keep it just a private road. There's no acreage for sale back there or anything where we live at. It's all personal and property that people have owned for a long time.
That answers my question, Mr. President. I think that you can do that for sure, but you can't do it by resolution because that needs to be by state law. You have to have a public hearing on this, and then you can take action to do so.
All right, so we would have to table this and then
Yes, sir.
do this by ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it a blacktop road or is it gravel?
It's a gravel.
Gravel?
Yeah, just a
How
gravel.
about, Mr. Taylor?
All right, we've got a couple of questions. Councilwoman Sanford?
Has the parish ever maintained that road at all?
The only time I was there, well, I'm always there, but I saw the grader on the road. I've never seen the grader on the road. Never.
So it's gravel.
It's a gravel road. And I called my councilman and told him, I said, this is, we always considered it a private road because it went just to the family. And so that's when I asked him to come before y'all.
Okay, and y'all pay for the gravel on that road?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
we
so
do
much.
all the work on it.
Y'all maintain the ditches and stuff like that, or the parish do?
No, we do our own.
All right, Councilman Wascom?
Yeah, I mean, to accommodate this right here, to accommodate the lady and Mr. Joe, how about just a resolution to authorize the ladies or Chris to put together an ordinance for introduction at the next meeting? That way we're all,
It could be introduced tonight if you want to in that form.
if y'all, can we do that tonight? Chris, just to
Well,
introduce?
it kind of goes against your regular
Well, I'm
rules.
just saying, our resolution to
We'll put
authorize it for next.
We'll put a resolution, we'll put an ordinance for the next meeting. Yep. Councilman Mangus?
We can't just ask to be out of the maintenance system, but not keep it still listed as a parish road?
Well, they're just a style, remove it from maintenance, well, I think what you want to do is abandon the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you give up the ownership that the parish currently has. So, yeah, so that's all you need to do. This happens all the time.
So guys, everybody's in favor, it's just a process, okay? It's got a green sign on it. That makes it a parish road with public money. Mr. Moody's is correct, there's a process to do that. We all in favor of doing it, but it has to be done by ordinance. That's a green sign on it, it's not a red sign. It's
It'll move to a
parish
red sign, right?
Who's going to pay for the red sign?
All right, we're going to table this tonight, and we're going to move it to an ordinance to, is that what you want to do?
No, I'd like to vote on it tonight.
Thank y'all.
But they're saying that we can't.
Well, you got to do it by ordinance, okay.
So we want to adopt a resolution to authorize to write an ordinance, introduce. Is that what we're doing?
It's not necessary, but you could.
No, we have council staff that can write that ordinance. All right. So, council staff, can y'all take care of that? All right. Adopt a resolution to add the following roads to the priority road list for consideration: Superior Drive, Glacier Bay Drive, Lake George Drive, and Lake Providence Drive, Council District 5.
Yes.
Ms. Councilwoman Sanford.
I need to add some roads to that too, but
All
I
right.
do have some questions. Yeah, I have some, I'm coming for you. Okay, I want to add Hill and Hood Road.
Hill and Hood? Ain't nothing wrong
No,
with it. That's like a
on the
4-lane
same
highway.
way that Harris Road was added
Yeah.
for texture.
Okay.
And there are some problems with that road. We've got some drainage issues on that road, and there's a sinkhole from a tree that fell. But I just need to know what to do with this road. Do I put it on this list?
You put it on the list.
Okay, and then Hermitage Drive, Colonial Place, Rosedown Avenue. Some of these need texture.
Okay.
Still put them on this list?
Put them on that
Okay.
list, and we will determine what.
Whittington Road, Bryan Street, and Jesse Street.
Okay. The one thing, and I've talked to the council staff, I would like to ask that in the future, we get the footages on that, because we're running into problems where the council adopts a road, let's say 1,500 foot, and then we have residents 3,000 foot down the road. Oh, no, this is a parish road. Oh, no, the council only took in this amount. So that's something we're going to be requesting in the future as we move forward.
Are you going to come up with those numbers?
Yeah, well.
I mean, I
I'm
don't know
saying,
if my
as we
truck
take
goes
it,
by feet.
as we take in roads, we know the numbers of the current roads, but like the new roads coming in from subdivisions and the.
So 396 feet of this road.
Yeah, that's
300
all, yeah. Yeah, we'll get you that information we need.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. A motion.
All right. There's too much crosstalk. So we got a motion to accept those roads. Does anybody else have some roads that they want to put on? No. No? Got a motion by Councilwoman Sanford. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second by Councilman Shavers. Vote on your iPad. All right, that passed unanimous. All right, number 22, adopt the resolution to reschedule the meeting dates for November and December for the upcoming council holidays. I did that myself. We have to do a resolution for November and December because our council meeting falls on Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I would like to move both the meeting or both months to the first and third week of Thanksgiving and November and December.
So moved.
Got it. I cannot make a motion, so somebody would have to make that motion. Got the. Turn it.
Move the meetings to November 6th and November 20th of November. I said that already. And December, 4th and 18th, 2025?
Thank you. All right, I got a motion by Councilman Mangus.
6th and 20th.
I second.
Got a second by Councilman Shavers. All in favor say aye. Aye. That passed unanimous. Finance Committee.
We're good. I think y'all have was there
Yeah, there's
finances
papers
on
right
the
here.
table, everybody? So look it over. If y'all have any questions, let us know.
Infrastructure Committee.
Infrastructure Committee, we're going to be meeting here soon. I encourage y'all to either watch it or whatever, but I will be getting with each one of y'all for y'all's particular district and y'all's particular roads and future projects that y'all might feel that we need to, or that's not in the list. For some reason, we overlooked it.
Ordinance Committee meeting.
I'm going to say this. We're going to have a meeting on the 2nd. Where's the camera at? Meeting on the 2nd on this minor resub ordinance, John Wascom, and you better be there. Why? What's that got to do with anything? Tuesday and a holiday? Send it out tonight. That's all we got on the agenda. We're going to have a ordinance committee meeting on the minor resub ordinance on the 2nd, September. And hope to God we adopt it on the 11th of
I don't know
September.
if
But
I
I want, if y'all have got input, please come to the ordinance committee.
I'm going to miss that one. Hey.
I'd like to go back to the Finance Committee.
Church, I'm not making it.
Chair,
All right.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Billy.
One.
I think there is a master plan committee meeting on the 2nd. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it's in my phone, so.
Let's just move it to the 3rd. If Billy and John, y'all are okay with the 3rd?
I can't do the 2nd. I got a men's conference at church, but.
3rd?
Ordinance Committee meeting.
Billy, the 3rd, good with you?
What day that falls on?
That's a Wednesday.
I generally don't miss church.
A Thursday?
Yeah. Councilman Wascom said he was going to be here. Y'all can do it on the 3rd. I'll go to church. We can do it. Do they have other meetings on Thursday? Planning and zoning's on Thursday. So it'll have to be Wednesday. So
let's do it on the weekend.
I will do Saturday after 6 p.m.
Yeah. Wednesday, how about Wednesday at 5? Is it?
Wednesday at 5. Wednesday at 5 will be the ordinance committee to discuss the minor resub ordinance.
Okay.
That has been on there already 4 times.
All right, District Attorney Point report.
Looks like no free lunch tomorrow. Sorry.
Mr. Shavers.
It's 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
There's nothing.
We need to revisit the finance thing for just a second. You can go ahead and come up and tell them. That way it's official.
I just wanted to state that we were presenting the month of July financials to you guys, along with the check listing and the sales tax for the month of June collections for May sales. So if you have any questions, just call us and we'll be happy to go over any of that with you guys.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have councilman comments? No?
None.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Got to, okay.
I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Labor Day. Y'all go enjoy the weekends, have a good time, and
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye.